World Pro Racing, where sim racing becomes real.
This is bad. Wait, let's just do it ourselves.
It is not fear that grips him, only restlessness, a heightened sense of things. The smell of engine and sweat, the engine rattling his blood, the crowd roaring, the race is about to start. He breathes deeply to focus. In this league, he finally found what he was looking for. A true passion.
Sono Massimo Paganini e per anni ho cercato una macchina che mi desse gioia e adrenalina nella guida e finalmente l'ho trovata nella G1 Series. Se anche tu vuoi provare una macchina che ti dia gioia e adrenalina, G1 Series 2020.
So, you think you got what it takes to race in the G1 Series? Can you keep your concentration? Even in the most stressed situations, can you keep pushing even when things go wrong? Can you master different environments? Can you adapt immediately to different conditions? Can you keep learning? Learning from your opponents, learning from your mistakes, learning from everyone, anytime, anywhere, until you reach your goal and become the best you can. Think you got what it takes to race in the 2020 G1 Series? Then fill in the form now.
Want to quit your day job? Become a pro streamer. Want to become a pro streamer? Get your panels, overlays, banners, emotes, and more at the Fiverr Twitch store.
World Pro Racing, where sim racing becomes real. It was about a year ago when Griiip managed to put themselves on the sim racing stage. Everybody stood up, everybody took notice, and everybody started to wonder, is this the path that we can start moving forward with? The answer to that question was a resounding yes, and 2020 has come along and a virtual series is now in full effect. Two categories, one of professionals, one of quote-unquote amateurs. This is a big challenge for every driver to try and win their respective division. Both divisions will be fought hard for over 6 consecutive weeks of hard-fought action, which takes us through tight and twisty circuits. It takes us to classics of racing calendars. It takes us to the city streets. And of course, it brings us to one of the most fabled places in all of motorsport. This, ladies and gentlemen, is your Griiip G1 Virtual Series, presented by Fiverr, and it is live and uninterrupted. Ladies and gentlemen, we've got ourselves action on Facebook Live, on YouTube, and on Twitch for those of you who are watching live. And of course, this will be broadcasted and shown, of course, on ESR, the 24/7 Esports Network, and ESPN as well. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to action here today. This is your amateur category going out for practice to start off proceedings then here today. And after we are finished with the amateur category races, we will move on to the pro division. I am Jixberry here all by myself in the commentary box for this one, joined with Justin Mifsud on the cameras for this one as our broadcast director. Crucially, Adrian Fagayo, our FIA accredited race director, and our FIA accredited chief steward, George Muscat, will be taking to proceedings as well. Of course, this is a tough challenge to start off proceedings today. We are at the Adria Falls circuit. For this one, it is a twisting and turning track, which is all about the stop-start nature. It goes pretty much through hairpin upon hairpin upon hairpin, and it's all about testing the brakes, which go from hot to cold and hot to cold, and it's very much a case of deformation where you have to try and make your way through. Of course, this is a massive championship which has so much going for it. Of course, the professionals here today will be fighting it out over these 6 weeks for a prize pool of €5,000, with €2,500 going to the overall winner of the championship over 6 rounds of the championship, which takes us from Adria over to Silverstone, Imola, Zandvoort, the Circuit d'Azur in Monaco, and then the Grand Prix circuit at the Nürburgring. Drivers have been assorted into their 2 divisions based by professional and amateur categories, and importantly as well to note as this has been going on, all mods performed and created by ASR Formula. They've done a fantastic job. As stated before, this series is presented by Fiverr, hashtag making it work, with prizes in the AM category championship presented to you by GT Omega Racing and Thrustmaster. That is what the amateurs will be fighting for. They'll be fighting for some fantastic new kit, which will be helping them out to move up towards the professional ranks in this series. Some fantastic work will be available and will be seen for you, and of course the only place you can check that out here is with World Pro Racing. Make sure that you like, you share, you subscribe, you get all the social medias out there and see how much brilliant racing comes along from World Pro Racing. Of course, the best place in rFactor 2 for giving you amazing racing. But more importantly than that, this is about pace setting here. Nobody truly knows who's got what pace to start the season. This is where you look around and say, well, who's got the form book? Who has what it takes to put themselves up at the top of the timing stands? And at this point in time, it is Tom Satherley who has control in this amateur division in practice. They've got themselves 6 minutes and 50 seconds before they move themselves over towards further racing action. His margin at the top, currently 2 1/4 tenths of a second. At this moment in time, Tom Satherley has on a 107.741. Stoyan Barbakov, no stranger to these sorts of races. He finds himself second at the moment, with Pierre-Andre Prevedi there in 3rd position at this moment in time, as Raffaello Morga there getting a little bit of a tap, heading through one of the key overtaking opportunities here today on this Adria full circuit, this international raceway, and that is going to be turn number 4 out on track. It's a 17-turn track which can boil down to 8 elements of turns, which you go through. A lot of corners on this Adria circuit are pretty much passing corners, as they would be known, where you just go through a corner at full throttle and there's no real thought about the way that you run through that section. Of course, turn 4 is going to be key. Turn 1 is going to be a prime overtaking opportunity as well. If you haven't got it done fully at turn 4, you can look towards turn 7 and 8. Brave drivers will try turn 9, turn 10. Very difficult because of the anti-cut curbs on the outside, and then you can have maybe a look down at turn 13, 14, 15, and maybe, if you're incredibly brave, down at the final corner for last gasp lunges. This is a circuit which prides itself on being in a range, and that range has to be to do with the slipstream around this place today. This is going to be a tough place, and if you are outside of that draft, you are going to be in a world of trouble today if the result does not find yourself going in the right direction. And as we've said, of course, throughout the starts of these races, 2 races here tonight, 1 for the amateurs and 1 for the professionals. Of course, these amateurs are racing here today. Practice is underway right now. They will have qualifying available to them. 10 minutes of qualifying they will have to set themselves the best lap possible. They will have 10 minutes then of warm-up before they get themselves ready for racing action, which will be a full 20 minutes long here today, which will be the case for both races as they all look to try and secure their positions up and forward in their respective championships. We're talking about track temperature and ambient temperature here today, both a scorching 29 degrees at this moment in time, so it's going to be a hot one today for the drivers. Fortunately enough, with only 20 minutes worth of racing action, they don't have to worry too much about their tyre life. They can go out there, they can go and attack these vehicles, which have been, by looking at these amateur category drivers here today, and by no means would you call them amateurs in terms of their experience, but maybe in terms of pace, they're a little bit behind those who are at the top it has been a case to be made that these vehicles, these G1s, are incredibly rear happy at this track. So it's going to be a case of trying to put the power down on the exit. And in fact, entry is probably going to be the tougher place because these drivers are trying to really drive these vehicles almost like go-karts around this track. It's all about slowing down, using the trail brake, and then starting back up again. It's going to be a tall order for a lot of drivers. Get this one correct as Philip Kraus looks to prove that one correct down at turn number 7 and 8 out on the track, making life difficult as he gets an over and an under, which did not help in terms of the way he was trying to get by a driver here in practice. But there are important battlegrounds to be looking at here today, and one of those will be qualifying. And of course, with open qualification, as is traditionally the case when it comes to series on World Pro Racing, it is going to be a tall order for drivers to get it all correct. They will have 10 minutes plus the end of their lap to make sure that things work, as Stoyan Barbakov is now the fastest driver in the session on a 107.4 here today. So he is finding himself right up there in the higher echelons of this field. 18 drivers currently have set lap times in this session. 21 drivers will be taking to qualifying and hopefully the race as well. The driver who is classified as 18th at the moment is someone who's been having a few issues here and there. Liam Mangan thought, as he drops back down to 19th position, that his wheel had pretty much given up the ghost on him just about 30 minutes ago prior to the start of proceedings here. So he's got it all patched up together, hopefully, and he's running pretty okay. A 1:11.6 is 4 seconds off the pace, though, at the moment, so we'll need to find a fair bit more to challenge towards the front of the field. But every position, every driver is going to be worth keeping an eye out on here today. Of course, in terms of World Pro Racing regulars, there are drivers who have been here before. There are drivers who are brand new to proceedings that we haven't seen so far over the last 12 months. Someone to keep an eye out on will be the 12 of Sam Carpenter. And there are no surprises here about Sam Carpenter. He is someone who has a great turn of pace, was second overall in the championship when it came to the Thrustmaster WPR F19 short series, and had a really good run, should have had a victory at the final round at Austria. However, things went awry for him. But someone to keep an eye out on is currently 12th in this practice session at the moment, maybe saving the real pace for qualifying that is coming up, as Sadly goes quicker again. 107.407 now the quickest time on the board. Drivers who have been impressing in terms of practice, Philip Kraus was one of them who had put some really quick times on the board. He currently finds himself in 7th position at the moment, as well as drivers up and down the order who are looking to try and put themselves into a good position in terms of their times. A huge grouping at 108.3 at the moment around Christian Pintz there in the number 8. You've got Luca Furlich behind in 9th, and Nathan Mifsud, who is probably the most regular of all the regulars when it comes to these sorts of series, finds himself in 10th position here in this practice session right now, which has itself about 15 seconds before we tick ourselves over and look towards qualifying. So every driver looking to try and showcase what they've got. Worth noting, if any drivers do need to come down pit lane, they are going to be in a whole world of hurt for this race coming up, so they know what they need to do. They need to be at their level best. Practice has expired, though, over the course of the 10 minutes that we have just seen. So drivers will now be getting themselves ready and gearing up towards qualification and the 10-minute sprint that they will have towards that qualifying time. And of course, they've got that 20-minute race to think about as well. This is going to be a big challenge for these drivers in the early stages of this one going forward. So we'll see how they all put themselves into the right position here. And of course, with only a 6-round championship, you must start your season off well. Being on the back foot early, especially with not many rounds in this championship, is going to put drivers at a disadvantage early, especially here in the amateur category championship. We'll see who has the paces. Now drivers will start lining themselves up, waiting for the green light at the end of pit lane, and then qualifying will be getting underway so soon as they get themselves going, and there they will and go to start things off on proceedings. Front of the queue is Tom Savily here, who wants to set his time first and foremost here around this place. Will want to try and put himself up at the highest level possible, and this will be a case to be made that maybe around this place draft might be crucial for qualifying laps. You want to will be jockeying as well for a bit of track position. You do need a draft partner around this place, but if you have yourself a bit of clean air, of course there is that double-sided coin, like Two-Face, some would say, where things can go well and things maybe can't go well if you're stuck in the draft. That dirty air effect, not as pronounced here in these G1 vehicles, but what they do know and do understand is the fact that there will be a wash effect if they get caught too far, or too close, sorry, I should say, behind a different driver. And of course, we welcome everybody here into the conversation around this place. So make sure that you put yourself right up in and enjoy the action that's going to be going on here today, as everybody is going to be running along and having some brilliant work that will be going around this place overall. We'll see drivers up and down the field look to try and put their results together, and of course we will see drivers in Pro and Am categories, but the first times now will be starting to try and be set. So we'll see drivers looking to try and get their times on the board. If the practice pace was anything to go by, Stoyan Barbakov may be the odds-on favourite. Put himself onto pole position. Tom Savily, Pierre-Andre Previdi might be someone to keep an eye out on as well. Someone who has surprised me is those drivers who are 4th and 5th in the practice times. Liam Rance and Kirsten Abeja have both been pretty solid by the way that the times have gone in the early stages. They looked like they were set for the middle of the pack scrap, but it looks like they might be going even higher than that at the moment. Savily's first lap will be abandoned then, so that's going to put him at a little bit of a disadvantage, I think is going to be the right way to be describing that at the moment. But at the moment, it's going to be about those first times coming in, and Liam Rance sets the pace on a 108.6, but Sam Carpenter leaps up in front by half a second, and then Stoyan Barbakov puts 3 1/3 tenths of a second on top of that to go top of the order. There's Philip Kraus going into second position then on a 107.9, just a tenth and almost a half there behind, as the likes of Juron Kuzmiashik moves now into 8th position. He's 2.1 seconds currently off of the pole position at the moment. Nathan Mifsud up to 5th with likes of Andrea Dalla Valle there into 4th position overall, and up to the top goes Filippo Caneo there at the top by 3 thousandths only there at the top. So a good time by Filippo Caneo to move up to the top of the timing stand. The driver who hadn't really set many practice laps, kept the cards close to the chest, and now when it all needs to be unleashed like Pandora's box, that's the time that needed to be found. So Caneo to the top, followed by Barbakov, Kraus, Carpenter, and Dalla Valle, the top 5 as things stand at the moment. Drivers maybe looking to set 1 lap, maybe 2 laps, as Alessandro Verni moving up into 5th position on a 108 flat. These are good times that are coming in, but not quite to the level of what we have seen earlier on here in the sessions. We've seen times as low as 107.2s be put in for practices and unofficial practices. So that could be a time that we see really whittled down the longer that things go. Kirsten Abeja up into 4th position overall with a good time, as Christian Pintz moves into 8th place with that time, that one being a 108.1. Currently you've got the top 10 split by just 4.8 tenths of a second, and that tells you how close it is. Caneo down to Sheldon Scott Muscat. They're in 10th position overall. So that's going to be crucial and key to the way that this is going to be run at this moment in time. So we'll see how this one goes on for the moment. You've got drivers here like Tom Sadley, who's just gone to the top on a 107.594 at this moment in time. Some good times coming in, and halfway in qualifying is already going to be scored complete. Barbakov to the top though, 107.574. Some great work there to get up to the top, and Filippo Caneo is there in 3rd position now, 2 tenths off of the pole at this moment in time. So, half distance score complete. Drivers wouldn't be now looking at trying to perfect their lap times. They've maybe only got 2 good runs left in terms of the session to move up the order and to get to exactly where they need to in terms of their times. You look a little bit further down the order, 3 drivers yet to set times. Tarek Njumi is one of them, Alberto Sartori is the second, and Daniele Belladonna is the third, who has only just come out of pit road to start in qualifying, already at a disadvantage. Half the time has gone away already. So we will see how this one all plays out in terms of the driver who first set a representative lap time, Liam Rance, all the way down to 12th position. That's how quickly positions can go and change, as sadly does improve on his time, but you can see how close he needs to be. He's 3 thousandths shy of pole position right now. 4 minutes to go, and it's not quite there, but every single sector is now going to need to be maximized to the best of potentials here at this moment. So we'll see how these drivers find that extra little tenth or couple of tenths needed. Kraus moving up to 3rd position. That was a little bit of help there. Had the draft from, I believe that was Kuzmeric there, who was giving the help there through towards the final sections of that lap, and it was at that section. So that one worked very, very nicely in terms of those lap times. You look at drivers, for example, a little bit further down the order. Danny Robbins down in 14th place. He's 1.2 seconds off of pole position. He's about half a second off of the next position. There really is a gulf at the moment between the top 13 and the rest of the field at the moment. It seems like you've got gap upon gap upon gap upon gap as another driver moves up. That's Nathan Mifsud, who's gone up into 5th place on a 107.819. That was exactly needed at that point in time. No real worries, no qualms about that one moving forward. So we'll see how these times look to develop. 2 minutes, 52 seconds left on the clock. Drivers still searching, still trying to find everything they can out of this track. And of course, drivers will have to be careful today. This track, pretty notorious for the off-track limits that this place has. They've been given 3, and if they hit the 4th, they may have to deal with penalties here today, and that would be the last thing on any driver's mind as they go through. Some drivers are looking to try and warm up their tyres quickly after coming out of pit road. They get a hard reset. It's a fresh set of boots. It's a fresh set of tyres as they look to go out and they look to try and set their laps. That's why they pull over after 2 laps, bring themselves back to pits, and then start pushing again and again and again out on the track. So drivers to look out for at the moment: Barbakov, Savali, Kraus, Caneo, Mifsud there in 5th, Abeja there in 6th. Top 9 split by 4.5 tenths of a second. The top 13 split by 7 tenths right now. Everybody trying to unlock the potential around this place. Pierre-Andre Prevedi was in 9th position right now. Does he move up the order with this time? No is the answer, but going on to a flyer clearly through the left-hander. 1:42 on the clock left, as now drivers will be looking for just that bit more. And actually now with 22 drivers out there on circuit, it's going to be tough because of traffic. Drivers on a lap, drivers not on a lap. That's something to keep in mind. You could get held up at places where they do not want to be held up at all, and this could be something to keep in mind. Sadly, currently on a lap. Barbakov coming round the final corner will have 2 attempts from here to get it going over the line. It's a long run to that line. 107.574, it stays at this point in time. Sadly, coming out of turn 8, looking for 9 and 10. Daniele Belladonna up to 16. Philip Kraus to the top, though, by a good margin there. 2.25 tenths of a second there on a 107.338. It's good enough for pole at the moment, but do not count your chickens just yet. There is still time. There is still a minute left to go for drivers to get around, and Tom sadly will not get around. He will not improve on his times. Caneo has that chance, as does Barbakov, who's moving himself out and around towards 9, 10, 11, and 12. This complex up at the top end of the circuit. Kraus will have another lap as well to go, as drivers will look to try and see who is going to be the last over the line as they look to try and push for those times. Caneo currently out there will have this as his final attempt. Same for Nathan Mifsud. Barbakov should have one more underneath the bonnet as he goes through, slides through the final corner though, trying to put the power down as early as possible. Vehicle's going to go sliding off in the background though. That's not going to be quite helpful for drivers behind, but Barbakov will get close there on a 107.369, but not enough. He will not improve. Kaneo will not improve either. It's down to everyone else. Pravidi is up into 6th place, but is already 0.6 of a second off of what is needed. Drivers who are out on track: Sam Carpenter, Kirsten Abeja is out there. Nathan Mifsud currently out there in 5th position, really trying to bring that vehicle around the latter stages of the lap, making the push to the final corner and hoping there's a little bit more in there as trying to run to the line. Pravidi has got up to 4th position with his lap time. Here comes Nathan Mifsud. Is there improvement left in the tank? Answer is no, there is not. Beja moves down into pit lane, could not find improvement, but Sam Carpenter might just be able to find something. One of the last drivers out there who could set an improvement on the times is in 8th position, straight lining it over for the line, and ultimately finds 1 position of improvement up into 7th place. Kraus did go faster on a 107.159, and in terms of Tarek and Jumi's time, stays in 21st position. Confirmation then of positions, it will be Philip Kraus on pole position for the first race of the AM Championship, with Stoyan Barbakov in 2nd and Tom Sadlerley there in 3rd. Pierre-Andre Pravidi starts from 4th position with Filippo Caneo in 5th place. It'll be Nathan Mifsud 6th and Sam Carpenter 7th, with Kirsten Abeja in 8th. 9th for Liam Rance and 10th for Alessandro Verni. Andrea Dalla Valle starts 11th with Christian Pintz in 12th. Then it's Alberto Sartori and Sheldon Scott Muscat. Luca Furlich is followed by Daniele Belladola on row 8, with Danny Robbins and Raffaello Morga there on row 9. Juran Kuzmierzik starts in 19th with Liam Mangan 20th, and then it's Tak Njumi and Edam Kaufman 21st and 22nd. But while we have to pay the bills here at World Pro Racing, we'll be back with more after this. World Pro Racing, where sim racing becomes real.
This is bad. Wait, let's just do it ourselves.
It is not fear that grips him, only restlessness, a heightened sense of things. The smell of engine and sweat, the engine rattling his blood, the crowd roaring. The race is about to start. He breathes deeply to focus. In this league, he finally found what he was looking for. A true passion.
Sono Massimo Paganini e per anni ho cercato una macchina che mi desse gioia, adrenalina nella guida e finalmente l'ho trovata nella G1 Series. Se anche tu vuoi provare una macchina che ti dia gioia e adrenalina, G1 Series 2020.
So, you think you got what it takes to race in the G1 Series? Can you keep your concentration? Even in the most stressed situations, can you keep pushing even when things go wrong? Can you master different environments? Can you adapt immediately to different conditions? Can you keep learning? Learning from your opponents, learning from your mistakes, learning from everyone, anytime, anywhere, until you reach your goal and become the best you can. Think you got what it takes to race in the 2020 G1 Series? Then fill in the form now.
Want to quit your day job? Become a pro streamer. Want to become a pro streamer? Get your panels, overlays, banners, emotes, and more at the Fiverr Twitch store.
World Pro Racing, where sim racing becomes real. And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to your Griiip G1 Virtual Series 2020, presented by Fiverr. Hashtag making it work. We are just moments away from the start of racing proceedings here in the amateur category division, with the pro division to come up following proceedings here in the amateur category event. You do not want to tune away. You do not want to look away from proceedings that will be going on here today. It's going to be fantastic as these drivers look to race for prizes presented by both GT Omega Racing and Thrustmaster here in the amateur category division. A lot has gone on over the course of qualifying. Some drivers are happy, some drivers are not very happy. One of those drivers who is not very happy is Stoyan Barbakov, feeling like he was impeded in a couple of his qualifying laps, and well, he's got every reason to be frustrated by the fact that the racing, or the qualifying, so to speak, didn't quite go his way after setting the pace for the majority of qualifying, only for Philip Kraus to steal away pole position in the dying stages of the qualification. There is a lot that goes on over 20 minutes, so qualifying does not guarantee you a victory, but what it does give you is the best seat in the house. It gives you the best opportunity at victory. It gives you the biggest advantage over everybody else in the field by starting in grid slot number 1 on the field. So we will see how that will all play out for these drivers today. They know that 20 minutes will go by in the blink of an eye if they're not too careful. The laps around here go by in 1 minute and 7 seconds, so they'll be running around 18, maybe 19 laps at a push here around this place, so they've got to be pretty much on it from moment number 1. They will have chances to make moves today, but what they have to be completely alert to is that possibility of getting over the line with a few seconds to go and jumping again, having to go one more revolution around the circuit. Drivers getting those final tunes in on the setups, getting themselves ready for action as they get themselves waiting now for the grid up process to begin. Warm-up is scored complete, and now we can look over towards racing action for the first time in 2020 here with your Griiip G1 Virtual Series. 6 consecutive weeks these drivers will be running again and again and again, and on the board it is Philip Kraus on that pole, Stoyan Barbakov from second, Tom Sadley keep an eye out on in third. It's Pierre-Andre Previdi in 4th with Filippo Caneo 5th, Nathan Mifsud in 6th, and Sam Carpenter starting from 7th position. Kirsten Abeja is going from 8th place with Liam Rance in 9th, and Alessandro Verni rounding out the top 10. Andrea Dalla Valle starts from 11th with Christian Pintz in 12th place. Alberto Sartori going from 13th, and Sheldon Scott Muscat there joins on row 7. That's followed by Luca Furlich and Daniele Belladonna as drivers go for their formation lap around the circuit. You've got likes of Danny Robbins and so many more who are there in the mix. You've got likes of Juron Kuzmierzik there towards the rear, as well as Tarek and Jumi, as they will all file into a line and get themselves ready and going around for this one formation as they get themselves looking and ready. Unless that was the green, they've got themselves going, so it's a very quick start then to proceedings that they've had going on here as they will go on the brakes now into the next right-hander that comes along here at turn number 8. So this is going to be a crucial battleground for these drivers today as they look to move themselves forward. Caneo and Mifsud side by side at the moment with the green flag going. So I've completely missed the start here, ladies and gentlemen, as they go on through and they look to make themselves go through. Raffaello Morga already out. Suspension issues have caused the troubles then in the early going. So Kraus with the lead with a good margin here at the front. Pravidi there in second. Sally's got ahead into third. Carpenter fourth. Barbakov has dropped back already into 5th position going forward. I thought there would be a formation lap. There wasn't as they push on forward. A lap already will be scored complete then on the board. Apologies for that one, ladies and gentlemen, but Kraus has got a fine margin at the front. 9/10 of a second already as they've got themselves going forward. So great work going as Kirsten Abeja looking at 8th position on Alessandro Verni. Not close enough yet into turn number 1. Some side-by-side behind as Liam Mangan's made great progress off the start. He's up a handful of places here, looking to battle Christian Pintz up towards turn number 4. It's such a very hectic start around this place. One driver already has run into those issues, but you can see no real worries at the moment. Verni and Abeja side-by-side now on the run towards turn 8. Out on the track, late on the brakes, do you dare? Bit of contact there, and Abeja runs wide. Verni gets to the position now, up into that 8th place, but the early positions haven't really changed much. It's the early goings. Big wiggle from Sadley as he gets up high over that curb through turn 11, and immediately positions looking further back are now going to start looking like they're going to run into a few troubles. Barbakov now looking to get ready. Nathan Mifsud now in position in 6th place, trying to get this one going. So we'll see how that one all kicks off. You've got the likes of Tarek and Jumi under pressure right now in 15th from Daniele Belladonna. So positions now becoming a big key thing. Every position is worth points. Points mean prizes come the end, and now you've got to start thinking about, okay, start building your way through. Savali and Pierre-Andre Pravidi currently in a scrap for 2nd position right now. On the brakes to turn 4, defended by Pravidi, taking that shallow line through 4, which is making life tough for any overtakes to be pretty much worked out on at this moment. You can see how much time they're losing to Kraus at the front already. Over 2 minutes. It is 1.7 seconds now the gap at the front of the field, and you feel like now it's going to be about position upon position. Little wiggle from Savali looking for a way through. Nice and narrow though goes Pravidi. No ways to get through in this amateur category event that we've got going on at the moment. 2nd through to 7th all in a line, and the battles are happening behind as Luka Furlich, after dropping back a full 5 places here off the start, is now dropping miles back here. Needs to get back by Alberto Sartori here in the scrap for 13th place. Not quite in a position for that one to happen at the moment, but here's some battling. Mifsud going defensive here in 6th place. Kaneo on the outside in 7th, wants to find the way through. Will have to go the long way around to make that one happen at turn number 1. Nice and narrow there from Mifsud. Will try and run out wide on the exit. An up and under attempt from Kaneo is not going to be close enough at this moment in time, but it's all about the draft as Daniele Benedonna is out of the race then, as well as Sheldon Scott Muscat as well in the early stages. This is what's happened then to Daniele Belladonna, who is down at the rear of the field. He gets himself through the final corner, gets himself up and over the grass, and pretty much pulls it over to the side of the road. Not much more even, I should say, can be said about that. All of a sudden, from what was 2nd and 3rd fighting, he's now 3rd, 4th and 5th because Sam Carpenter wants to get by Tom Sadley, and there is Stoyan Barbakov just behind, wanting to find a way through as well. On the brakes, through to the left-hander. They come along towards the end of the lap at turn 16, or turn 15 even. Now they head in 16. You've got that small left-hand kink of turn 17 to end the lap outright at the moment. Again, Mifsud going defensive with Kaneo behind. No changes of position, just in front of them. But again, to the outside, tries one Mr. Filippo Kaneo, and again, cannot quite find the way by Nathan Mifsud. And the more that Mifsud decides to defend and go narrow to the inside and get themselves moving forward, there's going to be more that they're going to lose in terms of the draft. It's a draft-heavy central track. You can't afford to fall outside of a 1-second margin around this place. It's already 1.2 seconds lost here, and that's what's going to be costing them. Behind that, Liam Rance to the outside, trying to find a move done on Alessandro Verni, but not quite there at the moment, as these drivers in 8th and 9th are already 10 seconds off your race leader. Furlich trying to get down the inside of Liam Mangan, does so without really any worries at all down at that section. So Mangan dropping one back after the wheel issues he's had just prior to the start of racing, but Furlich running slightly wide, just uses all of the road and gets exactly what is needed in the early stages. Here comes Barbakov though, looks to get through on Sam Carpenter. Carpenter had to take the wide line there at turn 16. You can get it done at 16, but you do compromise this run all the way to turn 1. Draft back central for Barbakov, down the inside looking for the move, and a little bit of contact as they go on through. Carpenter's going to have to skedaddle on wide as he will lose the place overall then to Stoyan Barbakov moving on forward. So on the brakes, battle going on as well contact was there between Pravidi and Sadali. Was Sadali just sliding it around the outside? Either way, position made. Sadali has got himself up into second, but Pravidi's not giving this one up here into turn 8, but ultimately has to in that section of road. Sadali has the position and has it well. Nathan Mifsud now through on Sam Carpenter, but Carpenter still with an overlap here. Has to be brave on the brakes around the outside. Oh, is he too brave? Oh, absolutely he is. He's over the anti-cut curbs, and he's done well to keep that one on the island, but he has dropped 2 places for his troubles, and well, you need a cup of coffee for that one, because you need to stay alert about issues like that. We are only a quarter of the way through this race, and a little bit more as well. Philip Kraus walking away with it though at the front. The margin here is over 4.4 seconds. At this moment in time, it's actually down to 4.3 now as we talk about it. Barbakov looking at the back of Pierre-Andre Pravidi as they head through the left of turn number 1, and not quite there at the moment. Wide from Nathan Mifsud though, and suddenly Filippo Caneo may have a sniff of the top 5 at this moment in time as they head on towards the brakes into the left. And he gets the grass then, as he was maybe in a little bit of trouble there trying to pick a line, and all of a sudden issues down on the lane, and out again goes Christian Pintz as he already had himself a penalty of some kind potentially. That's why he's dropped so far back down the order. Mangan almost gets run into from behind in 12th position. That's Andrea Dalla Valle, who will now lose a place to Alberto Sartori, who moves up into 13th place overall. So there's a little position that is picked up without too many worries at all in the early goings here of this one. On the brakes again, Nathan Mifsud now with Caneo behind, and this has been the story of the race so far. These two going at it pretty much for the entirety of this so far as they've gone on through. No changes as they head through the final corner, but Stoyan Barbakov again with a good run here, looking to get back onto the podium, moves to the inside, was tried to be half defended there by Pierre-Andre Pravidi, and they head through this opening section. You can pinch a driver to the inside. Side by side they do remain here as they come out of this section, moving towards turn number 4. Out on track, the prime place to get it done. And on the brakes, Pravidi has, he's got it wrong, and bang, big contact into the side. And he'll now get himself a position lost at least. And I wonder how much damage there is on his machine as he looks to push on forward. Barbakov has got the podium as Mifsud again having to defend down at turn number 8. Filippo Caneo gets a good run off for the exit though, and here comes the move looking towards turn 9, 10, 11 and 12 on the brakes. Round the outside's going to hold it. Nathan Mifsud's going to go a little bit too deep, and here's an up and under. You knit one, you pull one. It's like knitting here as Filippo Caneo has got the position over Nathan Mifsud, and look how much they've held each other up. Carpenter, Vernie, Rance now on the back, 7th, 8th, 9th positions, all now sitting and waiting, hoping they are going to be best placed now for the battle that they have in front of them at this moment in time. Liam Mangan has dropped back 2 places now behind Sartori and Dalla Valle. At this moment in time, you've got this battle as well. 16th and 17th as Juran Kuzmericek is trying to stay with Christian Pint in 16th place overall. So that's just a little eye candy. Keep in mind at the moment. Rance closing in on the back. You'll have 5 lots of draft going through in towards this next left-hander at turn 4, but none of that is going to be useful enough. Trying to find a way by Mifsud, trying to get back here at Filippo Caneo. He's having to defend here into this next section, and all Mifsud going for a gap that doesn't quite exist. Almost trying to get there, and all contact on the exit there. Caneo does well to keep it in a straight line, but that was a little bit aggressive there from Mifsud going through. But again, Caneo does well, runs wide off the exit, and they're almost going to fan out 3 wide here. Carpenter's looking at this with eager eyes, going, which way do I go? Contact, they're going through. Round goes Caneo in the middle of the field, and ultimately now we'll have to wait for one driver to go by. That's Beha there going through, and ultimately Sam Carpenter just slips his way up into 5th. Vernie now into 6th, Rance in 7th, and Mifsud all the way back now into 8th place after all of that. The Molten with all of the work left to do now here in this race, but it is plain sailing at the front. Half distance score complete already. 10 minutes have gone through in this section, and it is very, very clear at this moment in time that it is going to be a tough and tall order for drivers. Idan Kaufman also out, the 4th retirement of this race. So with 4 gone, Sheldon Scott Muscat, Raffaello Morga, Daniele Belladonna, and Idan Kaufman are all out of this race, but it is Philip Kraus who has control of the lead here in this one behind Mifsud, trying to get by on Liam Rance for 7th place, is finding himself stuck in what is known as a draft train and cannot find a way through at any place at this moment in time to make it happen, and it is telling at this moment that the moves cannot be done at this moment in time. It's all about setup around this place. You play tactical chess in these vehicles, heading up over 200 kilometers an hour in stages around this place to try and make things happen. And sometimes you've got to wait and be patient to make sure that things happen the way that you need to. At the moment, Alessandro Verni is looking behind instead of maybe just looking a little bit in front at Sam Carpenter, who is just starting to stretch the legs in this battle pack, with Rance trying to find a way through here on Alessandro Verni, but in no position to make the move into turn number 4. Nice and narrow line there, and a mistake from Rance. The rears go a little bit skew-if and sideways. We'll now start to see Nathan Mifsud try and push in on the line. On the brakes, not quite there from Nathan Mifsud, again having to play that game of waiting, which so many drivers do not want to put themselves in that position to do. Drivers are very impatient, they want to be at the front, they want to be quick, and they want to be quick very quickly. So we'll see how that one all plays out. Look at Carpenter though, all of a sudden in the middle sector, he's under pressure. Verni has found something here in the middle sector of this lap, on the 10th lap by. So now you start thinking about this here. Alessandro Verni, wide line taken in front by Carpenter. He's now trying to play that ultimate defense here, maximize every apex possible to try and get the best run on the straights and make himself as difficult as possible to overtake. Yes, that will make him vulnerable on entries into corners, but the plan is, well, I'll be too far ahead by the end of the straight. I won't be vulnerable. Verni is now, though. Here comes Liam Rance. I have to go the long way around. I have to go and take the high road, some would say, in order to get this move done. You can see he just runs incredibly wide, and ultimately it's costing himself half a second almost there in that corner alone. You can't afford to run wide in these sorts of battles. On the recovery trail is Filippo Caneo. He's got Luka Furlich in front of him. This is 10th and 11th at the moment. Those two will be closed down in, as will the battle for 2nd and 3rd, because Tom Sadlerly holds a 2-second margin at this point in time over Stoyan Barbakov, but Barbakov is keeping Sadlerly honest here at this moment in time, and that's going to be the key, keeping things absolutely honest here in this race. And now you start wondering here for Tom Sadlerly. The victory, unless there's mistakes by Philip Kraus, is seemingly just a little bit out of reach at this moment in time. There's a lap bit of traffic in front, that's Tarek and Jumi, that they'll have to try and negotiate a way by, but everything else aside from that is going to be a tall order at this moment in time. Back to the battle though. 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th on the track. That is the closest scrap that we have at the moment. Kirsten Abeja, they're just sitting behind in 9th place, is effectively just watching and waiting to see what happens just a couple of seconds down the road. So if anything does happen between these four, and my goodness, we have seen it already, there could be dramas here. Side by side, Caneo and Furlich in towards turn 4. Not quite there for Caneo. Had a little bit of contact. Danny Robbins out of the race with suspension. How has this one happened? He was all on his own, moving his way through the final sections of the track, and he gets himself in. Oh, he tried to go onto the pit lane, did he? And ultimately, he has run into troubles, and I think that is race done for Danny Robbins. So, a shame to see from that one, but back to live racing we continue. Gap between 2nd and 3rd is down to 1.7 seconds now here on the road between Sadlerly and Barbakov. Barbakov has not long. He's got 5 laps to chase that down, and he knows he's running out of time if he is to get more. Kirsten Abeja, though, that will be a penalty for him for too many cuts, as he will dive down onto the lane and serve a drive-through, or will he hit his box? He will look to hit his box and take the stop and go again. So Kirsten Abeja losing a lot of time, and after what was inside the top 10, will now drop a long ways back then in this race. Here's some side-by-side though. Alessandro Verni's under pressure again to the inside. Nathan Mifsud loves this overtake down at this section. And is the move complete? Not yet. 9 and 10 and 11 and 12 will still be places of contention here in terms of the battle, but Vernie holds on to the place. So, well worked. Nathan Mifsud stays behind once more. Cannot find the move through that's needed to move up through the order, to move up through the position. So we'll see how that one all works out as Philip Kraus now moves on to his 14th lap completed here in this race. Lap 15 of the event, 16 minutes have already been scored on the clock. They've got 4 minutes left remaining here in this race, but at the moment the battle's starting to just dry up a little bit here at Adria. Of course, the start wasn't ideal. A lot of drivers have run themselves into troubles here and troubles there, but we're still seeing some brilliant battling up and down this field, and it still continues on the waiting games at the moment. Vernie has been struggling coming out of this corner, and it's that nice narrow line which Nathan Mifsud has been liking, which has been giving him this run to maybe have a dive down at the next right-hander. Every time he heads through this corner, he looks like he's very tempted to make that move, but not close enough just yet at the moment. There have been some quiet races through the field. Pierre-Andre Previdi is one of them in 4th position at the moment. He's on an island on his own, and now there's traffic in the form of Tarek and Jumi for Vernie and Mifsud, with Liam Rance now a long way back in 8th position, not finding a way through. Is there a lunge at the final corner maybe? Yes, there is down the inside from Nathan Mifsud, but he's not got the overlap that he quite wanted here, and he may now have to try and look here into turn 1. Vernie moving out to the outside, now starting to have a little peek. Is there a look to the inside now here in the late stages of this race? Yes, there is. Is there the move done and score complete? They'll have to go all the way to the next section of the road. Kanea also looking at Furlich behind, but missed it again. Jumps back in behind, looks for the next way for a move to be done. On the brakes at 4. Again, not quite there, not quite happening. Kaneo hoping that he's got the position that he wants as he tries to make the move once more on the brakes at 4. He also finds himself in a position where he can't get it done, but Mifsud is through down at turn 8. What a move that is down the inside. That looked for all the world and intents and purposes that he wasn't going to be there to get that one done. Still has to confirm it and solidify it down at turn 9, and has got that one done. So move score complete. Mifsud back into 6th position. We'll be happy about that, but it might be a bridge too far to Sam Carpenter, who is a couple of seconds now down the road, and we're into the final 2 minutes now of this race, with Philip Kraus in complete control at the front of this field. Kaneo still in his scrap for 9th and 10th position, and off goes Juran Kuzmierzik there in what is turn 4 in 15th place. He went straight on down that section. It looked like he looped the rears a little bit. Abeja out with engine issues. His race is done. Battle though, 9th and 10th still going on. This is going to be a key little scrap. The traffic not helping in the form of Njumi. This is giving Kaneo the run, and he's now going to have to look to the outside to get this one done here at turn 4. Small little kink right is going to favour him, but again, you've got to really hold yourself around a corner that really doesn't work. Or you can just do that, up and under. That's a brilliant move done by Kaneo, but he hasn't got it secured, and that's where the up and under comes into trouble here at turn 8. On the brake, straight back again. Going to go through, but deep, too deep goes Luca Furlich. Now into the final minute of this race, and Kraus will find himself with a lap to go as he crosses the finish line. Furlich has held on to the position. Last lap now for Philip Kraus, who leads this race by 7.5 seconds at the front of this field over Tom Savali. Stoyan Barbakov is there in 3rd place right now, as the likes of Mifsud is able to hold off Alessandro Vernie for the moment. Luca Furlich there with Filippo Caneo. That gap just starting to open up a little bit. Caneo cannot find a way by when he needs to the most, and it is very telling at this point in time that the waiting game is not going to be paying off any longer. You've got to be brave now in the final stages. For Philip Kraus, he makes his way into the final sector of this race, has a handful of left-hand corners from turn 9 all the way to turn 14. There's that one small kink right there, the only break from the left-hand bends, which really do test those right-hand side tyres. Final corner comes along, and what a way to start the season. Amateur category championship leader is now Philip Kraus. Lights, 2, and flag. He wins in dominating fashion. Savily will get second as Barbakov has spun at the final corner, needs to get it going. Will there be a steal for the podium here ahead of him? Yes, there will. Pierre-Andre Previdi will take third place away from Stoyan Barbakov, who pushed too hard and got it all done wrong at the final corner. Verny has to come and pit on the final lap for incident, as Kaneo is out with an accident on the final lap of the race. It has happened very late on, and I believe he has gone from pushing too hard in the grass, finds the Armco, and the rear wing goes, the suspension gone, and pretty much race over. It all comes to a head come the end of the race. Philip Kraus wins in 20 minutes and 31 seconds by 8.5 seconds over Tom Savily. Pierre-Andre Previdi will steal one away from Stoyan Barbakov on the line for third place, with Sam Carpenter fifth and Nathan Mifsud in sixth. Liam Rance even will get seventh, with Luca Furlich in eighth, Andrea Dalla Valle in ninth, and Alberto Sartori will luck his way into a top 10 finish. Christian Pintz and Liam Mangan finish in 11th and 12th, with Filippo Caneo, the first of the lap-down drivers, with his incident on the last lap getting 13th. They got Juraj Kuzmeric, Alessandro Verny, Tarek Kanjumi, all a lap down, and then a lot of retirements today. Kirsten Abeja, Danny Robbins, Edan Kaufman, Daniele Belladonna, Raffaello Morga on the opening lap, along with Sheldon Scott Muscat, both of whom running into suspension issues on their lap 1 accident. Well, a very entertaining opening race then that we have seen from these drivers in the Griiip G1 series right now. So some brilliant work having to be done here by those amateur drivers. And of course, the Pro Series will be coming up very, very shortly. Ladies and gentlemen, there's going to be some brilliant work going on for these drivers as they will look to push, and they will race for a €5,000 haul as they look to try and get themselves forward. But at this moment in time, we can step aside very, very briefly here with World Pro Racing, because when we do come back, we have got ourselves practice qualifying and the racing here for the Pro Division, and it is going to be must watch, must see. Make sure that you keep in tuned, because we're going to be back very shortly after this. World Pro Racing, where sim racing becomes real.
This is bad. Wait, let's just do it ourselves.
is not fear that grips him, only restlessness, a heightened sense of things. The smell of engine and sweat, the engine rattling his blood, the crowd roaring. The race is about to start. He breathes deeply to focus. In this league, he finally found what he was looking for. A true passion.
Sono Massimo Paganini e per anni ho cercato una macchina che mi desse gioia, adrenalina nella guida e finalmente l'ho trovata nella G1 Series. Se anche tu vuoi provare una macchina che ti dia gioia e adrenalina, G1 Series 2020.
So, you think you got what it takes to race in the G1 Series? Can you keep your concentration? Even in the most stressed situations, can you keep pushing even when things go wrong? Can you master different environments? Can you adapt immediately to different conditions? Can you keep learning? Learning from your opponents, learning from your mistakes, learning from everyone, anytime, anywhere, until you reach your goal and become the best you can. Think you got what it takes to race in the 2020 G1 Series? Then fill in the form now.
Want to quit your day job? Become a pro streamer. Want to become a pro streamer? Get your panels, overlays, banners, emotes, and more at the Fiverr Twitch store.
World Pro Racing, where sim racing becomes real. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to this, your brilliant Griiip G1 Virtual Series 2020, presented by Fiverr. And it's important to remember when it's presented by Fiverr, hashtag making it work. We are getting to the pro division now, and this is where the money is made. This is where you start looking to bankroll yourself in terms of sim racing. And in terms of a field, you will struggle to find much more of a better field than what is on the offing today. Racers from every part of the globe are going to be trying to push themselves to their very limit, and everyone is going to be trying to do everything in their availability to make sure that they get a good start to this championship. They know that they've got 5,000 euros in a prize pool. They also know that it is the top 7 who will be taking away money from this series. The winner getting 2,500 euros, second position going down to 1,000, 750, 400, 200, 150 there at the very end. That's going to be key. Just keep in mind the longer that things are going to be going on, is the fact that this is a very, very short season. 6 races is not long at all in terms of a calendar, and when you put them back to back to back to back, it's going to be very, very challenging. From here, the tight twisty of Adria, we head to a very open and expansive track in the form of Silverstone. From there, my favourite circuit of them all, we go to Imola. Following that, you've got that Grand Prix circuit of Zandvoort. Then we head to the city streets, the Circuit d'Azur, following up with the Nürburgring to finish off the event. We are streaming live on World Pro Racing YouTube and Facebook, with World Pro Racing on YouTube, Facebook Live, and Twitch. And of course, we will be broadcasting over on ESR 24/7 Esports Network and ESPN as well as that. So this is going to be key to keep in mind as drivers try and push themselves over forward. I could arguably say there are 12 different candidates who could put themselves right up at the pointy end of a championship, of a push on forward for this season. There are so many variables, though, that could happen over the course of this one, where things may just change for drivers up and down. Currently, practice is underway at this moment in time. They'll have themselves a couple of minutes before they switch over towards qualifying, but for the time being, though, it is worth talking about actually some of the partners that have helped get it done for us, the likes of which for the AM category, of course, they are racing for those GT Omega Racing and Thrustmaster prizes that are available, as well as we got to talk about ASR Formula, who have been very, very helpful in terms of the creation of everything going on with this championship. The Griiip G1 Championship, very, very esteemed after Kevin Siggy's big result in 2019 to pick up the inaugural. But now you start looking at the field of drivers who could put themselves into a position. You look up and down, you see the likes of world's fastest gamer drivers who have been up there to the very top, who have been to the finals. They are in there. You got drivers who have been absolutely influential with so many things that have got themselves going through. The likes, of course, of Nishi Hoya has been key. You got Peter Briliak, who's been fantastic. Risto Capit, Yuri Kastorp. You can keep talking down the list. Arguably the favourite, Jerne Simoncic. Keep an eye out on him. Craig Baxter's looked fantastic over in World Pro Racing events earlier on in the year with the short series that has been put on. Everything's going to be key. 10 minutes of official practice starts about now, though, ladies and gents. So drivers will be now looking to get their first times in on the board. And these drivers know exactly what they need to do. And it is worth talking about. Men and women will be looking to push those times to the very, very top. Kakamagno will be someone to keep in mind. 19th position is currently the classification after 20 seconds worth of racing. That's not quite right, but at this point in time, Kakamagno, she'll be looking to push herself to the limit, and that's an incident in towards turn number 4. So that's not the way that you want to start things off going. You don't often want to get yourself alert and awake to racing action by a nice little tap on the rear, some would say. So that's not the way that things needed to be started, but these drivers all need to be pretty much getting going from minute number 1 and get themselves moving on forward right now. So we'll see some drivers up and down this order look to try and push themselves to the limits that they've got, and with 29 drivers here in this field, this is going to be a hard-fought qualifying for 1, and also for 2, it's going to be hard-fought in the sense that up and down the order, every position is going to be a tall challenge for everybody to try and get correct. So we'll see how these drivers will all fare out, but there have been a few changes in terms of branding and things of that ilk. For example, that AAA Esports, which has been talked about time and time again, R8G Esports now the name that's coming on forward. We've got drivers coming in from teams such as like Veloce Esports, very influential, of course, with the Formula 1 series that has been going on, that they have been putting on, not the X Grand Prix that they've been putting together. Of course, Alexander Dorniden has been around pretty much every team that has been somehow in and affiliated with them, and will be trying to make everything work out. So we'll see how Dorniden does. Dorniden is someone who has been up there near the front more often than not, someone definitely to keep an eye out on. Maybe some outside picks to look at. Paul August Lana is always someone who can maybe change it up from time and time again. You've got the like there, Vlad Tokarev, who's gone second in practice at the moment. Could be someone just to keep in mind at the moment. Fastest driver is at the moment Manuel Biancolilla at this moment in time. So Manuel is up at the top, and at the top by a fair margin here, 0.6 of a second. You don't often say that much in terms of times going on forward. So we'll see how the times look over practice. 30 drivers as David Mrozek, another driver to keep in mind here in terms of Burst Esports' little look forward. Of course, Mrozek and, of course, one Jurnej Simoncic will both be keys for the way that this race is going to be run, and everybody will be looking to push up to the highest echelons and say that they have the pace to push on forward and get to the top. Other drivers, Luis Felipe Capamagian, the Peruvian man, will be looking to try and push on forward. A big South American influence here in this championship, it seems, as drivers will look through, as is that driver in 28 who has yet to set anything representative here in this practice, Peter Briliak, who is someone who is arguably one of the very, very quickest, and someone you do not want to be racing up against in a race like this, mainly for the fact that he has a tendency to win, and that's going to be the worries for a lot of drivers in this field, that Peter Briliak could be the driver to keep in mind as this racing does continue. Cosimo Papi in 7th position right now, stays 7th for the moment, but drivers will be looking to try and find those improvements. Jesper Eriksson currently classified in 8th place in this practice, down to Dean Vella, who finds his Griiip G1 car in 10th place overall, representing the G Omega RPM eSport team. So that's going to be a good little challenge for the longer that these races are going to be going on at this moment. But Alex Siebel, someone we haven't really talked about, someone who can definitely mix it in and amongst the big drivers, some would say, into 2nd position on a 106.8 with Jurnej Simoncic just following in behind. Jurnej is someone who is very good on tyres, and in the late stages of races often comes back to field. It's the starts which Jurnej struggles with. That's the way that you deal with arguably the odds-on favourite in this field, who is in 3rd position at the moment. But what is worth noting is that opening race was very, very quick, was very, very aggressive in the early stages, and these drivers know that they cannot afford any single mistake, as Gioacchino Viglione there moves up into 4th position. So Gio getting a good run forward there into 4th. So Viglione will need to look now at trying to push on a little bit forward, but you're seeing just how close the times are again. Luca D'Amelio is the first man outside of the 1 second bracket in 12th position at the moment. Drivers, for example, who are in 10th place, or is in 10th place right now, Kirill Birakov at the moment finds himself in 10th, a teammate, it seems, by delivery to one certain driver who had had a pretty good run up to the final corner. That would have been Stoyan Barbakov. So Kirill Birakov will be looking to push on forward and make sure that the team has a very good showing here in the pro division. But every single battle is going to have to be hard fought and hard earned over the course of this one. We've seen how these drivers have been looking to push and looking to get themselves up to the highest level, and I think right up from position 1 to position 30, we're going to see a battle up and down the order. There's drivers in here like Alon Day, for example, who's in 18th position right now. 1.1 seconds is not a million miles away here in terms of this field. A lot of drivers yet set times out on the board, but practice is a case for be holding your cards closer to your chest. There's no guarantees that that's how the field's going to look, because the likes of, say, Risto Capit, Mr. Consistency when it comes to championships. Anytime he jumps into a championship, he gets close to victories. He prides himself on those top 5, top 10 finishes and those podium finishes more often than not. Risto Capit often is the driver to keep in mind when it comes to those sorts of results. Paul Augustlana up 6th. That jumps a few drivers down. Yuri Kasdorp, though, arguably pound for pound the quickest man in this field on raw pace, as Jurnej Simoncic sets to 106.3 lap time to go to the top of the order at this moment here in practice. But Yuri Kasdorp, pound for pound, is the quickest man on raw pace. Jurnej Simoncic is the man in form over the past 12 months, and there's the difference. It seems every time Jurnej Simoncic has turned up to race, he has won absolutely everything that he's got. He's taken one of the most prestigious crowns in rFactor 2 history in terms of the Formula Sim Racing World Championship. That was a big one, his first championship in that one, and the heritage of names that have gone on and won that championship, the likes of Bono Haas, for example. You need to be up there at your very best to win a championship like that. You've got drivers here who have done so much over the course of a year, who have been up there fighting. For example, world's fastest gamer, Erhan Yayovsky, he was the finalist. He got to second, but could not push it over the line and get there ahead of who he needed to. And of course, you talk about drivers who have started to make that push. You talk about the Max Verstappens, the Lando Norrises of the world. We talk about how all these real-world racers have started to jump into sim racing and embrace it a lot more than they had done previously. You talk about the likes of, say, Igor Fraga as probably the best story in the divisions to move on forward, to get results, and to hopefully, in terms of his career, keep on moving forward. He gets a international or an FIA F3 drive for what he will be looking for over the course of the season. But no guarantees for all of these drivers. They will be hoping that they are getting the results that they need at this moment in time. And of course, they've got a minute left of practice before they take themselves over to a qualifying. And of course, a very short lap, a 66-second lap for the likes of Jurnej Simoncic, means that it's going to be very, very crowded here in qualifying. You're going to have eyes on a swivel, and every which way you look, you've got to hope that you do not run into dramas. Michi Hoyer, though, the streamer, the man who has been very much in and around every which thing that has gone on over the last year or so. He finds himself up in third position here in practice, has always got that ability to turn up. The question has been, when does Michi Hoyer start to push towards the front of the field? And this may just be the series where Michi Hoyer makes a championship push. We have no idea how it's all going to pan out, but we are in the final stages here of our practice here. So we're going to start moving over towards qualifying very, very shortly as the timer expires on practice, as Dennis Jordan moves up to second. Where did that lap come from? Perennially inside the top 20, but Dennis Jordan right at the end says, well, here's a statement. I'll go 1,000th quicker than Bianca Lilia and move up into that second position overall. Some brilliant work there to make that one happen. But qualifying about to start very, very shortly. Many drivers will be hoping that they have exactly what they want and exactly what they need in terms of one lap pace. This is where you start to pick it up. Other drivers that we haven't really talked about, Borja Milano is one of them, Jason Muscat another, who are populating in and around that top 15 to top 20 range here in the field. It's going to be close, as practice proved that the top 24 was split by 1.3 seconds only when it came to the times. And now it's all about qualifying. Drivers waiting down at the end of the pits, and they'll get themselves out. Erhan Yayovsky, ever impatient, only expects the best of himself. If he doesn't get the best, he'll start looking elsewhere in terms of what he needs to do. He'll be the first driver out there, try and set representative flying lap times. You've got Risto Capit just behind. The likes of Yuri Kasdorp will be looking to put some early times in on the boards. The usual suspects at the pointy end of most rFactor 2 championships, of quite a few sim racing championships, are there. And now you've got to shuffle for space, and effectively you can't afford to let the tyres go too cold here on the outlap here. Arguably, you could say rFactor 2, one of the best simulators in the world when it comes to tyre life, and that is something to keep in mind. These drivers will be looking to get those tyres up to temperature, and with 10 minutes you don't have long. You've got one lap, maybe 2 laps if you push it hard, to get exactly what you want out of them, and drivers will be just searching for a little bit of space out on track to make sure they have enough room to get those times. Let's go on though for a lap with Erhan Yayovsky here in this fantastic race presented by Fiverr for your Griiip G1 Virtual 2020 Series, and in through the difficult turn 1 and turn 2 at the same time. On the exit, you really have to put the power down and start motoring at the fastest part of the circuit towards turn 4. That's the kink of 3, and now in through turn number 4, and it keeps going 5 and 6. You keep on flowing through this corner. Small kink right of 7. Now you hit the brakes. Turn number 8 very much has similarities to the Barber Motorsports Park in Birmingham, Alabama, that section of the road. It's almost a reverse of turn 5 over there. Now you head towards turn 9. Small right. Then you hit the brakes for the left of 10 and 11 and 12 now follows up. 13 follows up here. Small kink right is now, and then they got the left 14 and 15. Double apex here through this section. A very, very quick part of the track. Then turn 16 here, a big place to dive. You try and open up the corner as much as possible, use as much as you can on the exit. Small kink left to 17. That ends the lap around this place. Yoyoski over the line, 106.340. Clean air, clean lap. Capit goes second, almost half a second back then on the opening laps. The times will start to come in then on the board. Drivers searching for what they need in the opening laps. Other drivers have not got what they want. Capamagian up to third, immediately bumped down by Michi Hoyer, who is 0.6 of a second off of pole position, just squeaking into the 106 bracket as we saw earlier on in the AM category. 107.1 was the pole position. Already 5 drivers on top of that at this moment in time. Kasdorp in 6th position on a 107.3, jumped down by Peter Briliak at that moment in time. So Briliak there finding some time to move forward. Dennis Jordan, though, goes to 4th. And ultimately now, Yoyoski is on an island on his own in qualifying. A 106.3. He has got himself right up to speed straight away. Alexander Dornaden up into then 7th position overall, 107, and put 3 ones on the end of that. 0.7 of a second, though, behind at the moment in qualification. At this moment in time, Risto Capit to the top, 106.285. Got what was wanted. Giaushino visually only up to 3rd, but bumped down by Manuel Biancalilla there in 3rd position. So now all of a sudden, Gio finds himself into 4th place, and that's not ideal in terms of the way that he wants his qualifying to go at the moment. So drivers yet to set times at the moment. Simoncic, Mrozek, Tokarev, Pappy, Day, Baxter, some of the names have yet to put themselves on the board. Here comes Simoncic over the line searching for a something, and that's a outlap going on to a flyer at this moment in time. So this is going to be a key battleground for the way that this race is going to be won and lost at the moment. Jordan up into 3rd position at the moment. Siebel up into 6th. On that time there as Dornaden improves again up to 7th, 106.924, 3,000 short again of the driver in front, that being Alex Siebel out on track. You got to maximise everything around this place, and all of these drivers know they've got to be very, very quick at getting themselves into position to strike here in this qualifying. Here comes Peter Briliak over the line here for his lap. Any improvement on the time? No, there is not. So still Peter Briliak sitting behind, and you can see the trains of drivers leaving the pit. It's a very tough exit to pit lane because it falls right on the racing line of turn 1 as Dean Vella moves up to 13th place with his lap time. Good work at the moment. Eyes on Kakamagno at this moment in time. 112.0 she's got at the moment. Nothing representative at this point in time. On the brakes through the left-hand corner. Just struggling a little bit to get the car pointed in. Runs wide through that section, trying to put the power down. Final corner comes along for her as she try and push for the line, looking for an improvement to get up towards Tom Beckhauser at the moment, who is currently on a 110.9, and that is improvement. 0.3 for Kakamagno, but still 5.4 seconds here off of pole position, and at the moment is telling at this point in time. Your top 5 at the moment. Capit, Yoyoski, Simoncic has moved up into 3rd. Jordan and Biancalilla there into 5th position overall. So, it's going to be a tough challenge, a tall order. 4 minutes to go here in this qualifying session. And now drivers looking to try and get their final few laps all together. You got to get all your bottles in a row. Some would stay and make sure that you've got everything that you absolutely have got to get the times that are needed. Kappa and Yoski, the two teammates, 1 and 2, at the front of the field right now, needing every little bit that they need to move on just to get a 10th more here, a 10th more there. The rest of the field are chasing down the top 12. Split by 0.8 of a second. Kazdorp is the man on the outside looking in of the 1 second bracket, but that suddenly changes as Vlad Tokarev moves up to 13th position, side by side through turn 1. He goes, has a big slide as well, which does not help. It compounds issues for finding times. Luca D'Amelio up to 12th, suddenly bumped down to 13th because Davin Mrozek, there in the Burst Esports car, has found exactly what was wanted. 7th position, half a second off. Mrozek is no stranger to vehicles that are quick in the mid-range of open wheelers, which you could say that these vehicles are, and he's done very, very well to get himself then into 7th position. Siebel looking for improvement, does not find it at this moment in time. So now positions start to become more and more valuable at this point. The later you leave it, the more that you need to try and get. Kapamadzian up inside the top 10 now bumps Mishi Hoyer outside of that top 10 position. Yuyovski still not close enough. Try and find it. I think Capit may have even found a couple thousandths more to a 106.284. So this is really working out well for the new team colours. The former AAA Esports, of course, are absolutely flying at this moment in time, and they are doing so with, I wouldn't say reckless abandon, they're doing so with controlled precision at this moment in time. Pretty much every driver now thinking about either being on a lap or trying to get tyres to go out there and set them. 2 minutes to go. You've got to start thinking about getting out now if you want to try and set a flying lap time that really does start to set the world on fire. Simoncic gets closer. Dornaden up to 4th with his time out on 106.6. So Simoncic is now just 1 and a bit tenths of a second behind pole position. It's starting to get a little bit tight at the top, and these drivers all know it here at this moment. Drivers are improving every single time. You've got Jordan in 5th at the moment. Bianca Lilia now down to 6th. Viglione in 7th now will try and make a run to the line. 106.8 at the moment, his best time, and no changes of position. So keep on waiting. There will be time yet in the racing to get more improvements going on forward. So we'll see how this one all works out. You got likes Tokarev jumping up into 14th place, just behind Kirill Birakov. They're in 13th overall. Down at the bottom, or nearing the bottom at the moment, the top 16 split by a second. Yuri Kazdorp all of a sudden has to find something. 0.2 of a second is worth 7 places at this moment in time in qualifying. It's worth an 8th now because Luca D'Amelio's just jumped ahead of him into that 16th place. He's down in 17th. Jesper Eriksson now actually up into 13th place on that time. So people are finding times. They are finding those improvements. Simoncic does not that time by. 30 seconds to go. Final stages. Mrozek jumps to 5th place. So good work at the moment. Likes of Capit stays on the lane. Dornaden on the lane. Those two drivers will not improve from 1st and 4th positions at this point in time. Everybody else is practically on a lap. Yoski now looking to go for one more go at this one at this moment in time. Mrozek, Jordan, Bianca Lilia at the moment all look to push. Kapamadzian will get one more in, goes up to 9th, jumps Alex Siebel back down to 10th. Kapamadzian says, I can't go any quicker than that. Timer expires in qualifying. Mastermind rules in effect. Once you've started, you may finish as you go on through. So now the likes of drivers like Yoski and Simoncic looking for more. Simoncic won't. He's in the fence. He's in the Armco. His lap is done. He will go no higher than 3rd in qualifying. Mrozek looking for a little bit more. Dennis Jordan jumps to 4th though, here on a 106.5, just a quarter of a second off of pole. Mrozek round the final corner, searching for a bit more. We'll get Draft heading through this section over towards the line. Is this improvement from Mrozek in the burst car? It is not enough. Stays 6th. For the moment, Yoski really trying to give everything through the final corner. At the moment, they've got a 1-2. They've got the 1-2 that they want, 1-2 that they need. No improvement. Cannot find position. Jordan is out of laps. Manuel Biancalilia, though, could improve. Half a second off of pole at the moment. There is time. Taking a lot of grass there, coming out of 11 into 12 and then into 13 as well. That might be an invalidation of the lap. Likes of Peter Briliak has just finished his lap. He stays in 12th. Siebel did jump into 8th place overall. Bianca Lilia dives down on the lane as well. Jason Muscat, I think's lap is done, as well as Cosimo Papi as well. So confirmation, Risto Kappen and Erhan Yajovski will have the front row for the team. Jerne Simoncic from 3rd, Dennis Jordan 4th, and Alexander Dornaden for Veloce starts this one in 5th. Mrozek goes from 6th, Bianca Lilia 7th, and it's Sibel Viglione and Kappa Madjan rounding out the top 10. We're going to step aside, though, for one moment. We'll be back with racing action from your Pro Division after this. World Pro Racing, where sim racing becomes real.
This is bad. Wait, let's just do it ourselves.
is not fear that grips him, only restlessness, a heightened sense of things. The smell of engine and sweat, the engine rattling his blood, the crowd roaring. The race is about to start. He breathes deeply to focus. In this league, he finally found what he was looking for. A true passion.
Sono Massimo Paganini e per anni ho cercato una macchina che mi desse gioia, adrenalina nella guida e finalmente l'ho trovata nella G1 Series. Se anche tu vuoi provare una macchina che ti dia gioia e adrenalina, G1 Series 2020.
So, you think you got what it takes to race in the G1 Series? Can you keep your concentration? Even in the most stressed situations, can you keep pushing even when things go wrong? Can you master different environments? Can you adapt immediately to different conditions? Can you keep learning? Learning from your opponents, learning from your mistakes, learning from everyone, anytime, anywhere, until you reach your goal and become the best you can. Think you got what it takes to race in the 2020 G1 Series? Then fill in the form now.
Want to quit your day job? Become a pro streamer. Want to become a pro streamer? Get your panels, overlays, banners, emotes, and more at the Fiverr Twitch store.
World Pro Racing, where sim racing becomes real. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Griiip G1 Virtual Series 2020, presented by Fiverr. And because it is, of course, presented by Fiverr, hashtag they're making it work. Or hashtag making it work, I should say. We are getting ourselves ready for racing action here, live on YouTube, Facebook Live, and Twitch. And, of course, broadcasted on ESR's 24/7 Esports Network and ESPN. This is going to be a crucial way to start the opening round of the Pro Championship. The pace has been set, and R8G have that one in the bag. The former AAA Esports absolutely flying off of the start of this one. They have first, they have second. They want to try and prove themselves as the very top of the game. Burst Esports, though, do not count them out. They've got the strength in numbers for this one. And although there is not a team championship, this is all about individual effort. There will be bands of people who group together and try and find the best that pace has to offer them. Everybody is going to be on edge as they try and get themselves pretty much at the very, very front. So we'll see how this one works out. 20 minutes, of course, they can go by very, very quickly. And, of course, they could go by very painfully for drivers who find themselves in the wrong position in this sort of race. It is such an easy track to to get caught on the wrong side of, and then suddenly position start tumbling down the order. Make sure, everybody, if you haven't already, to like, share, and subscribe on every social media platform for all of the partners here today. Of course, for us at World Pro Racing, and of course the likes of Fiverr, Thrustmaster, GT Omega, as well as the likes of Core, of Griiip G1, and also ASR Formula, who have been helping out as well. A lot to unpack, a lot to unfurl in 20 minutes, and warm-up is scored complete. The good news is, we do believe there is a formation, a standing start for this one. A formation lap should be set, which wasn't in the opening race. We'll see how that one all plays out and works. But confirmation will be coming up shortly of who has the pole position and who will be in the chasing pack, trying to make that progress through the field so very, very desperately the longer that this race does go on. We actually do have news, and that is that Craig Baxter has had to pull out and retire from the race before it has even started due to hardware issues surrounding the wheel. The DD1 not working for him in terms of his operation, so that's not helpful. Risto Capit is on the pole, Erhan Yayovski alongside, followed by Simoncic and Jordan third and fourth. Alexander Dornadon starts from fifth with Davin Rojek sixth, and Manuel Biancalilia starts seventh with Alex Siebel in eighth place. Giacchino Viglioni starts ninth with Luis Felipe Capamagian in 10th position. 11th, Michi Hoyer, Petr Briliak in 12th, and the rest of the grid looking to chase behind. Yuri Kasdorp surprisingly down the order in 18th place, as they will be getting themselves a pace lap. This is definitely a pace lap, ladies and gentlemen, as they move on forward. It's definitely a lot less aggressive than it was in the AM race, so to speak. But all these drivers know they've got to be pretty much on it, as they will get one lap to warm their tyres up, keep the temperature in them before they get themselves ready for the start. It's going to be a short run to turn number one, and that's going to be the key of how this is going to be run today. A short run to turn one. If you're brave, if you're bold enough, you might be able to get something done. Turn three, turn four, that might be the place on the opening lap where overtakes are going to be key. But the troubles that are going to be, the pitfalls of this circuit, come in the forms of battling. It doesn't look tough on paper. Yes, it does snake and wind around quite a bit. Yes, this track does feel like it's almost a karting track of sorts, the way that these battles, and these vehicles do feel a little bit like kart in the way that you have to really try and push the cars and throw them into corners. The one thing that these drivers have to be careful of is taking advantage of this place, because so very quickly, we have seen in the amateur race, the track does bite back, especially when you've got drivers in close proximity, in close quarters, trying to get the laps to happen. Risto Capit has absolutely blitzed through on this lap, and Erhan Yayovski already playing the mind games, leaving a large gap to Risto Capit. He is going to try and make sure that he stays as long as he possibly can on the grid in that first slot. Let the tyres cool down and hope that the start is not as good. This is going to be a bold challenge, and let's not forget here today that drivers who are odd-numbered in terms of their qualifying positions and their grid slots are going to be on the right-hand side of the circuit. Yes, that is the racing line of the circuit. But no, it's not the inside for turn number one. If Yayovski gets a good start, he may have a big opportunity here today to pick up position number one at turn number one on track. There you can see Risto Capit looking for his marker and hits his box right on the white line. He is leaving no margins here as he goes on through, and you can see how every driver wants to push and hit that level and try and make progress through the field. Watch out for the likes of Hoyer, Briliak, and also Yuri Kasdorp. They'll be wanting to make this progress through the field over 20 minutes. They haven't been best placed for the way that things have run for them in qualifying, but this race is going to be crucial. Already smoke starting to billow out of Jordan's car, Dennis Jordan's car. This is going to be key. Everyone sitting, everyone waiting. Green flag man set, engine notes rising, and there's the green, and let's get going. Risto Capit gets a good start. Yayovski, though, will have to defend from Simoncic behind. It's all fine, it's all clear from the front 3, 4, 5 rows as they head themselves in towards turn number one. Viglioni with a bit of contact with Capamagian, who's ready up into 8th place, moving forward, but they now start running themselves all the way towards the braking zone at turn 4, out on track. 1-2 for the RHG boys. They find themselves in a good position, still battling though, 2 wide in the middle of the pack right now. Jesper Eriksson got a good start, and it's almost 3 wide. Briliak and Tokarev and D'Amelio going at it here on the brakes into the next right-hander, and D'Amelio wins out in all of it, but will still have to go side by side with Briliak on the outside, and suddenly there's Paul August Lana trying to get himself in on the mix as they get on the brakes into the right-left chicane, coming along turn 8, turn 9, and ultimately wide goes Lana, and there looks D'Amelio trying to get the position towards the front though. Bit more plain sailing, cap it with a small margin here of half a second in the early stages. Jerne Simoncic there in 3rd position, trying to keep in touch in the Burst Esports outfit, trying to move on forward. Siebel's had a good start, he's into 6th. Donovan has not, he's dropped back into 7th position overall, but a lap has been scored complete, and in terms of retirements, 2 with engines off the start. Bianca Lilia and someone else also running into troubles as well, so not ideal then for the start of this race. 2 drivers already out with engine issues, but on the brakes. Look at Erhan Yayovsky now, starting to harass the back of his teammate. Nothing personal, kid, but we are fighting for a championship. Every point matters in a 6-round season, though. Backwards, though, we start looking through the field. Well, Paul August Lana's been close. Good start from Yuri Kazdorp, up 3 places, then to get himself moving forward. Drivers have been making places then in the early goings. Michi Hoyer trying to get into the mirrors of Luis Felipe Capamagian at the moment, as it is Germany versus Peru. In terms of this fight, they go through the left, but this is where the slipstream train starts to become a big key battleground as drivers start to look for every which position here. D'Amelio under pressure, Kazdorp and also Birikov there in the mix, and just behind that you got Ottavani leading a 4-car train, which holds Cosimo Papi at the back, Borja Milan surprisingly down the order, Vlad Tokarev in there as well in terms of this scrap going on, and through goes Michi Hoyer on Luis Felipe Capamagian in for the battle for 9th place. Good work going through, now needs to change, but there's a cutback from Capamagian, getting it back done on Michi Hoyer. So Hoyer got the move done, but he's now going to have to look again if he wants to make that one happen. Will he dive for the inside of 4? No, he'll have to sit back and just wait for the time being. Front 2 breaking away from Jerne Simoncic, who's not good on opening laps, but he will start to come back into this race the longer that it does go on, so keep that in mind. Side by side still, Jesper Eriksson now under pressure. Look at Michi Hoyer go as he lost the position once, he lost another one there to Eriksson, but Eriksson coming back. Lana now looking for the inside for 11th position, up over the anti-cut curves though, can't find the place. Back to the inside though, he gets the move done, and that's what happens when you push 1 defend into 9 and 10. It's very much a tactical game of chess at over 200 Ks, and that's what we saw just there as they go on through. D'Amelio there in 15th position at the moment, but it is the front 4 that are breaking away at the front of this field, not by large margins. We're not seeing 1 second gaps, so we're not seeing the margins we saw in the opening race, but what we are seeing here is Capit followed by Yovsky, Simoncic and Dennis Jordan there in 4th position, Rojek 5th and Alex Siebel there in 6th position. Here comes Capamagian though for 8. Oh, tyre to tyre. Why don't we against Gio Viglione on the brakes into the left-hand bend. Little wide goes Gio. Contact almost there between them. Capamagian trying everything to make her way through. I'll have to go around the outside of turn number 8 to try and get this one done. Not happening there on the brakes. Almost contact there as Michi Hoyer tried to get into the mix as well. Did not happen. Already though, a half-an-hour race this one is. It's going to be a tall challenge for these drivers. They know it's a long-haul race. They've got to be pretty much on it at this moment, and they've got to be pretty much there the longer it goes on. Lana falls behind Jesper Eriksson. There's Peter Briliak just behind, hoping that 12th position is going to be an opportunity. Yuri Kazdorp just behind them as well. Look to try and get into the mix in terms of the battling here in this race. But again, just not quite there. This is a case where you have to try and set up the run and make sure that you keep yourself in a range of the car in front. If not, you're in trouble, like Alexander Dornadon is at the moment with Viglione and Capamagian and Hoyer there in the mix. Briliak and Kazdorp looking for their battles to go through in terms of battles. Dornadon having to defend slightly from Viglione, who's trying to go for the inside. Big wide line from Dornadon, though. That's going to put him under pressure here on the brakes, as well as this one, 3rd and 4th, because Dennis Jordan keeping honest Jerne Simoncic at the moment, who's 7/10 back of Erhan Yayovsky here at the front of the field. Side by side behind as Paul August, Lana, and Peter Briliak going at it. It is Briliak on the outside, Lana on the inside. Two very similar colours between the pair of them. And contact with Kasdorp as he tries to muscle a way through. And there's contact. Up and over goes Kasdorp. 1-2 on his roof. And there on the roll bar, he is out. Yuri Kasdorp is out here at Adria. So disaster with Paul August, Lana. And that's the problem with being so far down in qualifying. You start making moves that are far too aggressive for the nature that you need, and Yuri Kasdorp falls foul of it. He's fallen foul of it many a time before in the past, and all of a sudden he is out of the race and on the back foot in the championship from minute number pretty much 6, we could say here in this one. 1/5 distance already score complete then in this race. Your front four still Linus Stern, Kapitan, Yoski, and Simoncic and Jordan here at the moment, all within a good margin of each other, still within pretty much 6/10 every single driver is. Behind that though, Mrozek 1.5 seconds back down the row is desperately trying to stay in touch, but he just isn't at this moment in time. Still the battle 8th and 9th as Viglione is holding off one Mr. Luis Felipe Capamagian, and there are no changes of position there between those drivers at this moment. Let's look a little bit further back because Paul August, Lana struggling after that contact. Here comes Matthias Stumpf trying to find a way through, and Matthias is going to have to play that sit and wait game, unable to really go out there and attack. And in fact, Kasdorp has got going in 23rd position. More drivers are out of the race. Out of fuel is Tom Beckhauser. He's forgotten that it's a race and he's put the qualifying fuel in, so he is out of the race. He is out of fuel. Alon Day also out with suspension issues here in this race. The 29 drivers that took to the grid went down to 25. Tail ended by Kakamagno at this moment in time, so she is at the back of this field right now. But still, front four looking Linus Stern at the moment, and this is the key. They're looking to try and probe for mistakes here in the early stages. They're not going to be going for outlandish moves. There's not really much point, especially for Yoski here, who is really tailing Risto Capit right now. There's no point making bold and audacious moves on your own teammate and sabotaging the race for the pair of them. They know that they can trust each other more than anybody else in this field. They want Simoncic out of the battle, Dennis Jordan out of the battle. Those two drivers are the ones to keep out of harm's way at this moment in time. Also got this battle on 16th, 17th, Vlad Tokarev, Borja Milan at the moment trying to make their way through the final couple of corners on the brakes into the last, and looking like it's going to be all about getting a drive. And ultimately the gap is key in front to Kirill Birakov in 15th place. That gap is 1.5 seconds, so this is prime picking, you would feel, for Tokarev here, looking towards turn 4, but gets a good run coming out of turn 1. Borja Milan pushing wide, struggling to get the vehicle turned in, and all of a sudden, there's Tokarev trying to look for the inside. He's not got the run, but on the brakes, has he got enough? Answer's yes. So up goes Tokarev into position 16 at this moment in time. Some good work being done here in this field. But look at the front once again. Capit under pressure here as Yoski and Simoncic just sit and wait. Dennis Jordan there in 4th position. All 4 of them split by just a second as they go through the final stages of the lap here as they look to try and hit the brakes into the next right here. The final or the penultimate corner of the track, that small kink left is the final corner, so to and speak. But those 4 are just trying to distance themselves from the likes of Mrozek here, trying to get themselves a gap. They've got 2.1 seconds to that at the moment, and they are working to make sure that if they do start getting a little bit antsy and they start deciding I'm not happy with my position, that they can go out there and make some big moves out on track. Cosimo Papi, though, he's trying to make a move here in 22nd position to get by Dean Vella on the brakes into the left of turn 1. Easy does it there, and that is a move. Almost score complete. Try the Ryan Hunter Ray line, why don't we here, Dean? Going for the 2 tyres on the grass strategy. Now trying to get on the brakes into the next left-hander, and around the outside's always tough because the corner just falls away, and Dean Vella finds that out the hard way, but has kept the nose in, trying to go on the outside, used a bit of the AstroTurf there. Oh, contact between them once, not twice, but they're going through. easy does it, easy as you like. Position made right there up into 21st position. So good work in terms of getting the move done. Capit starting to stretch the legs now up to 9/10 of a second. It's almost like a different gear's been hit because traffic now starts to become an issue. Kakamagno, she will move over to the right-hand side of the circuit, I do believe, and allow these drivers to go through in just a moment. There you can see, a little bit worrisome there. On the brakes goes Risto Capit moving forward there. That was a little bit of a shock. Wasn't expecting, I was thinking that real differentiation in speeds they go through. So Kasdorp officially out. Dean Vella now out of the race as well. So what has happened to Dean Vella? Run into contact there with Cosimo Papi, and it looks like they've both gone up, they've both gone over, and that is a huge shame for the pair of them. Both of them have run themselves into troubles, but there has been trouble for Erhan Yoyoski. He's dropped 2 positions, and he's done so at turn 4 out on track. So he ran wide, that's cost him 2 places, and all of a sudden Simoncic up to second, Dennis Jordan now up onto the podium, and those are the mistakes that Erhan Yoyoski consistently makes. More traffic though for Risto Capit, and that's not going to be helpful at all, and that is going to be Gracia there getting just by in terms of that one. But at this point, Jerne Simoncic now sit primed, coiled and ready to find a way by Risto Capit. How many times have these two been at it together? It is Estonia versus Croatia at the moment. Risto Capit, arguably the greatest export in sim racing from his country. Simoncic exactly the same. Dennis Jordan there in third. Yoyoski just sitting there in fourth, trying to get in the mirrors of Jordan, trying to get back onto the podium if possible. At this moment in time, side by side, almost behind there, a bit of lap traffic there for Michi Hoyer to deal with, and does so. So that's going to be okay. Birikov, though, is caught the back of Alessandro Ottaviani at this point in time. So Alessandro Ottaviani is having a very good run at this moment, and goes by another couple of drivers here and there moving forward. But every driver now starting to get a little bit pinched up here. Luca D'Amelio trying to find a way past Peter Briliak. Not quite finding it at the moment. Here's another little look as Birikov now having to be careful with Ottaviani, and has actually found a way through. So Ottaviani going through, and actually Viglione is going to come down in. That's a penalty, I'm pretty sure. So Viglione has been using the track limits too much. He'll drop back, and ultimately that is going to be through for many a driver here in this field. Cars 88 and 7 are under investigation after incident earlier on in this race. Keep that in mind, ladies and gentlemen. That's going to be key in terms of the battles that those drivers are going to have. But at the moment, it's the 8, followed by the 17, followed by the 27, then car 1 in 4th position overall here in this race. So, top 4 currently split by 1.4 seconds, and then there's the battle 5th and 6th, because Alex Siebel has done really well to claw away back to Davin Rozek in 5th place. This is going to be a crucial little battle, because although they're fighting 5th and 6th, with a field as tight and as difficult as this, 5th and 6th place finishes may mean quite a lot the longer that the racing does go on. So keep that in mind as the top 10 battle also heating up. Ericsson, Briliak, D'Amelio, Birikov, all in a train. Ottaviani trying to stay with it at the moment as they go on through in towards the next section of road, and not close enough yet, but Briliak may have to defend here into turn number 1. Half distance score complete in the next couple of minutes. A little look from D'Amelio there, hoping for the inside, so has to choose the outside, runs into the back there of Briliak slightly, and thank you, says Kirill Birikov. Cookies! I'll take that one. That is my position that I will have, and there are no worries at all. On, though, at the front once again, Jordan getting a good run. Simoncic tucked up behind the gearbox of Risto Capit here in these Griiip G1s as they start moving on forward through the left-handers. Now 4 in a row they'll have here, 9, 10, 11 and 12. Small right there of 13, and then they'll get 2 more left, 14 and 15 to keep on going forward. Simoncic looking behind all of a sudden in the Burst Esports car as Dennis Jordan now starts to play the attack. And you feel for Jerne Simoncic at this moment in time. He's caught in Schrodinger's overtake at this moment, attacking and defending at the same time, and the 88 machine will get a drive-through penalty, and that is for the incident on car number 7. So driver in the 88 machine will have to take a little trip down pit lane, and that's not going to be ideal as Paul August Lana is out with suspension damage. So that's a shame for him. Out of the race goes Paul August Lana, then, who had a rough and tumble run with this field today, and ultimately is not going to come away with very many points, if any, for a non-finish in this one. But now drivers have scouted out what they need. They're going to try and start putting plans and getting them into place around this track here today. A lot of retirements in the opening half of this race. At this point, we've got the likes of Manuel Bianchilili on the opening lap, Alon Day, Tom Beckhauser, Yuri Kazdorp, Dean Vella, and Cosimo Papi in the 88 will come down in for a drive-through penalty as administered by the FIA stewards that are here, or FIA licensed stewards that are here today in Adrian Fagaio, the chief race director, and of course George Muscat as well. Gap starts to open up for Capit, 0.8 of a second. He's giving himself a margin here. Simončić maybe giving himself a bit of room to cool the engine down slightly, give himself a chance of attack later on then in this one. We'll see how this one all plays out. Morozic and Siebel always still close as well, moving on forward on the brakes into turn 4. Those drivers not going to be close enough at this point in time. There's a little bit of a moment for a driver, a lap down. That was the 88 in front of Michi Hoyer in 9th place, so no real worries. Half look though from Luca D'Amelio. He's going for the inside here. This is for 12th. Going to get past one Mr. Kirill Birukov. It's not complete. He'll have to go the long way here. Oh, and tyre to tyre they go on the brake into this. 74 and 77 at it together. Not going to work for Luca D'Amelio. Must stay behind Kirill Birukov. No chances of making that move happen. Wiggles come in for Jesper Eriksson, who holds on to 10th place for the time being right now. But they are starting to move now towards the final third of this race, and you start gearing yourself up. How can you find a move? There has been no discernible overtaking attempt on Risto Capit. That's been the key. Nobody's got close enough to make a concerted lunge, and these drivers will sit and wait, and they'll wait till the cows come home, some would say, before any opportunities. There's a driver with a blown engine down on pit lane. That's Kakamagno, who is out of the race, I would believe, with all of that. The rear wing is gone, and the damage seemingly heavy. Going to be able to get out and going again, I think, but we'll see how that one all plays out. We got battles up and down the order going on at the moment, and Eriksson is the one closest to trouble on the brake into the right of turn 8. And again, Peter Briliak just stuck on the outside of the top 10, looking in, hoping, please, can you let me in? I'd like a chance. On the brakes, 9, 10, looking for an opportunity. Really nice and narrow on that curb, but you are going to struggle to really put the power down when the vehicle's pretty much jacked up like that on probably the highest curb on the entirety of the circuit there through that section, so no real worries about that one. Kapamagian right on the back now of Alexander Dornadon here in the battle for 7th and 8th. It's Veloce versus the RPM Esports team, and it's not close enough at the moment through turn number 1, and they won't get closer still. Oh, a little look further forward though. Jordan and Yuyovsky closing in on Simončić. All of a sudden, Jerne is under pressure and has to stay within a second. Look to the mirrors for Yuyovsky, thinking about the inside there at turn 8. Not going to find it that time by, but again, it is a waiting game around this place. If you can't get yourself into position, you've got to sit, you've got to wait for those opportunities to arise, and sometimes they will not present themselves, and you may only get one chance. That's the high caliber of drivers in this field. Kapamagian's trying to open it up here on Dornadon. He's tucked up underneath here, heading through turn 12 with a good run. Kapamagian might have the chance in towards this next left-hander at turn 14. A lock-up, though, says otherwise, and there goes 2/10. So he will not find himself in position. Yuyovsky will, though. Dennis Jordan's under pressure here. He's in trouble as they head to turn number 1. Yuyovsky lifts out of it, though. Will prefer turn 4 as an opportunity to make the move through 1, through 2, and now onto this straight, moving back up the circuit towards turn number 4. It's a fairly flat place around his Adria. You've got not much elevation change to really make the changes that's needed, and again, Dennis Jordan using the draft in front of Jerne Simončić to really block any opportunities that have been going forward. So great work in terms of the battling that has been going on at the moment. Into the pits again goes Viglione, and I think this is another trip down through the lane for a cut and he'll be back out again. It's going to be a long day for Viglione from this point, and he's in the fence, and he's pretty much out now at this point in time. Risto Capit, though, still in control, and now it's 2 packs of 2. Here comes Simoncic down the inside of 14. Not many moves at this section of road, and he's got the move done on Dennis Jordan. So how much does that cost them? 1.1 seconds in that fight, and that was all down to Jordan making mistakes. So all of a sudden, Erhan's got to pull them both back in, but Dennis Jordan's not going to give this one up here. Is he going to look for the inside? No, to the outside. Here at turn number 1, out on track. He's going to go very deep in on the brakes, and that's too deep, and he's going to really lose that with understeer through that section. So dramas galore, and it does not work out at that point in time. On the brake go the leading pair, and suddenly Simoncic has what he's wanted all race long. And that, of course, ladies and gentlemen, is a chance of victory, one-on-one, man-to-man, with Risto Capit. Yayovsky with a little slide, all of a sudden finds Dennis Jordan back again. Jordan might have a look here into turn 9. It's very, very aggressively defended by Erhan Yayovsky, who moved late. Changed back in the field, though, as now Luka D'Amelio and Kirill Birakov fighting for 12th place go at it side by side. And, block pass of block passes by Kirill Birakov. D'Amelio had to run into the back of him through that section, and ultimately it works for Kirill Birakov up into 12th place. Next up on the list is a very, very frustrated Peter Briliak, who's falling away from Jesper Eriksson, out on track at the moment. So still, the traffic becomes a key here as Risto Capit takes the big wide line and will drag along Simoncic in tow. We've got 9 minutes to go then in this race, and that's going to be crucial here for the way this one's going to be run. Jurnej Simoncic knows he's probably only going to get one good chance to make this move. He's stuck at 3.5 tenths behind here on Risto Capit. He can't afford to be greedy and aggressive early. Tucks up right to the back, under braking. But again, on exit, pulling away goes Risto Capit, as is the way that it all works out on this at this place. At the moment, some drivers who have been running into troubles. Ottaviani back down to 17th. He's lost positions to the likes of Borja Milan and Jason Muscat with issues, as well as Vlad Tokarev as well, who's now up into 14th position once again here in this one. So at the moment, you can say it's going to be tough battling, as well as 5th and 6th. Traffic not helping Davin Mrozek here in the fight. Alex Siebel, who was just starting to drop back ever so slightly, all of a sudden finds himself now trying to get through, and someone who did drop back was Dennis Jordan that last time by 1.5 seconds behind. He finds himself now on Erhan Yayovsky, out of the draft range, and Yayovsky absolutely flying here, is pulling himself back within a second of Jurnej Simoncic. It's going to be a 3-car scrap at an R8G sandwich with Burst Esport filling in the middle in terms of the way this race is going to be run for the last 7 minutes. Dornadon in trouble, side by side. Contact slightly slides off the exit. Thank you, says Luis Felipe Capamajan, the Peruvian, up into 7th position overall. Michi Hoyer on the back runs it deep and very nearly careens into the back of Veloce Esports' Alexander Dornadon, but ultimately keeps it out of harm's way and lives to fight another day in the scrap and battle, trying to open up the exit in towards 12. Not going to find it this time by at 14. You can be brave, you can be bold, you can find the chances, but not just now at this moment in time. So we'll see how that one goes. They deal and dispatch with some lap traffic in front of them at this point in time, but still Capit holding half a second here to 1 Jurnej Simoncic, who knows even if he doesn't win at this race, he's got longer in this season. He's got 5 rounds after this. He can go and get it done. He can get it done at Silverstone. He can get it done at Imola. He could get it done at Zandvoort or the Circuit d'Azur, or maybe even to the Nürburgring. He might try and get the victories that he needs to put it all together. Look at Alex Stiebel, though. He'll have to go the long way around here on Davin Mrozek, who has to hit the brakes hard. Up and under attempt coming. What a run off the exit comes Stiebel here for 5th place. Down the inside, he'll look at turn 9. It's going to be tough to get it done. Round the outside, well held by Mrozek, and he gets it nice and narrow on the exit. That is well defended by Mrozek. He's got through and Ericsson's got himself the position. Dornadon's run wide off of the curbs and the anti-cuts, and that Michi Hoyer goes through, but crucially, Briliak is through on Jesper Eriksson inside the top 10. So Jesper Eriksson now with work to do, as he's got Birikov behind and also Luca D'Amelio for a bit of company as well. All changes then at the end of the 22nd lap of this race. I was correct first time, but now Jurnej Simoncic, 5 minutes to go, waving around, and almost like the bell's starting to ring here in a 5,000 meter race or a 10,000 meter race. You start gearing up, you start getting louder, you start working out where's the pace going to be. A little look down at the inside, not working wide, runs Yayovsky behind, so he's going to drop himself a few tenths of a second, but not out of the slipstream range, which is going to be the key for how this race is going to finish. Mroziek runs wide though. Here comes Siebel again. Well, this is going to be a case of, well, you've done it once, and Siebel's going to be wise here. He's going to sit back and wait on Davin Mroziek. That's a calculating decision. Alex Siebel will know there's a better opportunity later on down the line, hopefully, if this one's going to work. But Risto Capet still holding enough of a margin, still using every corner to his advantage, and Simoncic knows it's just not working. Remember, these are open setups as well. You're not going to find opportunities here in terms of a fixed setup. Everyone's driving exactly the same car. There are acute differences between the teams. It's going to be vaguely the same in terms of they know where the pace is, but it's how you unlock it, which is slightly different from driver to driver to driver at the moment. D'Amelio going to try and prove it and go through, as Tokarev's going to have to come down in and deal with a drive-through penalty, as Birikov moving to the outside, trying to get by Eriksson. He's not going to find it. Inside line looking, tries Luca D'Amelio, and again, he's not going to quite find it here. Long straight comes up again towards turn 4, and again, Linus Stern not in a position to dive and attack, and grass, and around almost there goes Birikov. He loses one place to D'Amelio, who gets a freebie for his troubles. Birikov with a rare mistake, going through turn 3 too aggressively, and ultimately it has cost him just a little and bit at this moment in time. Just now, 4 minutes to go on the clock. They know once 30 minutes expires, that's it. It's all over in terms of the race. It will be the last lap. So, what can Jurnej Simoncic do to find the move that he needs to pick up the position for Risto Capet? There, keeping him honest, is Erhan Yayovsky. He can't be too brazen. He can't be too bold. On the brakes, there is traffic for them in front of them. That should be, I believe, Cosimo Papi that they're going to be up to next. Look at Simoncic's run, though. This could be the place to look down the inside. Thought a lot better of it through that section of the road. Simoncic thinking of the exit, and he's got a fantastic exit here. And there's traffic as well. Side by side, 3 wide they go. On the brakes to 9, and Simoncic has got the move. He's got it done. Yayovsky runs wide in the background, but Simoncic, who had been playing the patient game, waited all this time, has got the race lead with a handful of minutes to go, and it's this late where you see Jurnej Simoncic pick it up in the clutch, because he is not driving automatic. He does it time and time again, and now he starts to stretch his legs and starts to pull the gap away from Risto Capet from what was now 0.2 of a second. There's 0.3 in one sector alone, and this is what Simoncic does so well, is he's got a handful of laps to go remaining here in this race. Yayovsky falling backwards now into the clutches of Dennis Jordan for the podium, and all of a sudden you feel like it's all going to kick off once again here in this race. And now you start wondering who's got what left. Mroziek starting to get just enough of a gap on Alex Siebel here in 5th and 6th place. A lot of gaps for the mid part of the top 10. Yayovsky runs wide, and here comes Jordan looking for the inside of 9 again. He's got the nose now into turn 9. Yayovsky will fight him every stage of the way here. Contact between them, just a light tap. Jordan's forced to run wide, and Yayovsky forcefully says, 3rd position's mine. You're not costing us a 1, 2, 3 on the podium at this moment. It's all about this. Surely 1 lap to go here at this circuit of Adria, And now you start looking at the clock. Is it going to tick down to 30? I don't think it is. Simoncic, you got one more run around this track. And Adria has been so brilliant for the racing. Capit has just fallen a few laps too short at the moment. Yoyoski is desperately trying to cling on here for third place. Mrozic and Siebel close as well in terms of the scraps as Dornaden tries to get himself close. There will be a change late because Kirill Birakov's got to serve a drive-through penalty after picking up too many instant cut points as he's gone on through. You only get 3 on the brakes. Mrozic close. Traffic didn't help there through that section. And now here comes Siebel looking for the inside. Potentially not going to find it. Maybe he has the next run at the next right-hander as he tries to go through. Final sector approaching for your race leaders. Siebel's going to try and go up and under. And he's got a brilliant run. And Mrozic's got nothing left in terms of fighting that. But for Jurnej Simoncic, who sat, who waited, who was patient again and again and again, he said he was only going to get maybe one chance of trying to get this one working. Well, round yourself through the penultimate corner, and then the small king left makes it the final. Jurnej Simoncic, the man in form, the man to beat, sets the benchmark, wins at Adria. It will be Capit in second. It will be Yoyoski holding on to a podium. And the battles finish up later on. Mrozic loses out to Alex Siebel for 5th position. Dornaden's going to get close to Mishi Hoyer, but not close enough come the end. And there's massive dramas come the end. Briliac's going to come through against lap traffic, who I think's just run into each other. So Briliac's going to stay in 10th place there as there was dramas coming towards the end of that one, and the likes of Kirill Birakov trying to find a way past Jason Muscat late, but this is going to be a case to be made. Jason Muscat is just going to be safe here to the line of ahead of Birakov and Tokarev, who are both making those pushes. I believe it was Gioaccio Viglione who had run into those dramas. Same for Cosimo Papi in those battles, but everybody is across the line. Jurnej Simoncic then has got the win, and has got the win massively here in terms of the way that race was run, and did so by a fairly decent margin as well. Coming in over a second it was to finish off the result. There you can see Capit second, Yoyoski third, and Jordan in fourth. Siebel would get fifth with Mrozic sixth, with Kapamadzian seventh, and Mishi Hoyer eighth. Dornaden ninth, and Peter Briliac rounded out the top 10. Then in the field, some brilliant racing up and down. And Jurnej Simoncic joins me right now here in the commentary box. And Jurnej, that was a patient race. 30 minutes, which was more like 27 and a half, sitting and waiting and hoping a move would happen. The one chance you needed, you took.
Yeah, it was about saving tires again. It's interesting because the car gets faster and faster, even with tire degradation. But still, it was important to not overheat front right or slide the rears too much. But yeah, it was a lot of patience, but also, yeah, there was one impatient moment for me when overtaking Erhan. I think, yeah, it was very aggressive. I hope he isn't angry with me, and I hope it looked good on broadcast at least, or at least was good fun. But yeah, apart from that aggressive moment, yeah, a bit an uneventful race, but it was good fun.
Well, uneventful doesn't often need to be the case to win a race. You can win it by an inch, you can win it by a mile, you can win it flamboyantly, or you can win it with a methodical drive, which it was so today. Jurnej, this is a very short season. It's only 6 weeks, but it's 6 weeks back to back to back, which makes life very, very tough in terms of a quick turnaround for the next round of the championship. Just how important is it to get off to a good start like you did today, picking up maximum points?
Race is ultra important, and I think especially with Adria Raceway being like a track that is not often used. I raced for the first time here, so it was very important, of course, to get the first one right. But now we come to tracks which we all know well, so the balance of power could be different there.
It certainly could, and of course Silverstone's a lot more open, it's a lot more expansive, it's a lot more easier to get overtakes done with such a wide racing surface. So in terms of the Silverstone, how are you looking to prepare with the team at Burst?
Yeah, there are so many other events that we don't really have other plan that just getting together for 1 or 2 evenings and just do laps together, do qualifying session and do practice race. And yeah, adjust the setup between Adria and Silverstone. Silverstone will be much quicker, as you said. So yeah, not too much of planning practice, but yeah, just the normal stuff.
Well, before we let you go, Yerne, after a big race victory, shout out sponsors. Who gets it done for you?
Yeah, a big shout out to Rio Toro and to Simplexity. Great rigs, check them out.
Well, there's Yerne Simčić with the big race win. Second position would go to Risto Capit. Risto, it just felt like a bridge too far come the end. You had a fantastic race. You led the most laps out of that one. You had 25 laps led, but ultimately it was just a case of just wasn't able to hold back the tide long enough.
Yeah, that was intense. Well, first of all, I'm happy to got the pole position for over a long time in front of Yerne, who is objectively the fastest open wheel guy in rFactor 2, and Erhan, who is objectively the fastest all-rounder guy. So that was really nice. But yeah, these cars are very interesting. They have they have all the power in the high revs, and me and Yerne had quite different gearing, it seemed like. So I was quite slow in the slowest corners, but that helped me in the last sector to give some gap between me and others, and also there was some dirty air which saved me. But yeah, I had to keep it completely mistake-free, and I could get away with being like a tenth slower per lap. But in the end, he was pressuring me hard, and into the slowest corner, I thought about braking late to make sure to cover if he dives for it. That made me lose so much speed that I bogged down, and he could just drive past me on the acceleration. So yeah, quite deflated to let it go. But then again, I'm happy to be up here.
Well, second position is definitely nothing to shake a stick at, especially a season which looks like it is going to be a closely fought championship with the top four for the majority of the race staying within a second of each other. So surely it's a case where consistency, which is definitely one of your strongest points, Risto, might just be key for the entirety of the season.
Yeah, I will. I'm full of good energy. I will keep working for it and keep working until the last round. And let's see where we come out. I mean, all these guys I'm racing against them in 1 or 2 races a week anyway, so I know them well. But I just have to put in some extra work and effort to make sure I outwork them for this championship.
Well, we'll see how that'll be the case. Before we let you go, Risto, shout out sponsors. Who gets it done?
Obviously, I'm fully energized having joined Roman Grosjean's esport team. So thanks to him and all of the sponsors we have in his team. I just this is my first race with my Acer Predator rig with the ultra wide screen, and I think that helped a bit as well, especially in such small open wheelers to have a nice wide screen. It's helpful. It's nice.
Risto Capit there picking up second position. His teammate as part of Roman Grosjean's new outfit is Erhan Yayoski, and no better driver to come home third than Erhan. But Erhan, it was a case to be made. You were looking for the race lead early on. It seemed like every time you went for that move, you just weren't quite in a position there to go out there and really capitalize on a track which is notoriously difficult to overtake like it is here in Adria. So in terms of getting a podium, getting your season off to a good start, how do you think the overall first round went for you?
Yeah, like at the beginning, I didn't want to be too aggressive to Risto and just stay behind him, and I don't know, but after like it was lap 9, Yerne got a good run, and I don't know. I need to check the replay, but it looked suspicious to me, and after that I lost all my rhythm.
Well, the rhythm went, but you're still able to hold off the likes of Dennis Jordan there for third position overall. You can't really be too disappointed with a podium, especially in a season like this. Silverstone presents a bit of a different challenge. It's very quick. It doesn't have necessarily as many high-speed braking zones. It's got, I would say, a more natural flow to it as a former airfield. So in terms of going over to Silverstone, a track which I think all of these drivers in this series know pretty much like the back of their hand, how are you looking to try and capitalise and gain those 2 positions that you couldn't get today?
Definitely, I think Silverstone will suit me much more than this track because there were a lot of slow corners, slow hairpins, which I don't like. So yeah, plenty of passing opportunities in Silverstone for sure.
Plenty of passing opportunities, and of course, Erhan, a third position. Shout out sponsors, anyone you'd like to thank.
Thanks to Roman Grosjean Esports and all the sponsors behind it.
Well, no worries at all. Erhan Yayovsky picking up a third place finish. A little bit miffed after his result, but in terms of how this championship goes, well, you got to be back in 1 week's time because the second round of the championship heads itself to Silverstone, and it's going to be a case to be made that drivers who got good runs here in the early stage of this championship in the first round need to go and continue that form fantastically. A massive thanks, though, has to go to pretty much everybody who has been helping making this a part of production for this series. And of course, you have to start with the whole series being presented by Fiverr. Hashtag making it work. They are, and of course, it's probably the best place for freelance work that you can find. Go over to fiverr.com right now if you are in need of pretty much a whole lot of things. As well, thanks go to GT Omega Racing and Thrustmaster, who are sponsoring the AM category prizes, as well as ASR Formula, who have been brilliant on the modifications to this series. This has been streaming on YouTube, Facebook Live, and Twitch, and will be shown on the ESR 24/7 Esports Network and ESPN, or has been shown if you're watching that right now. Some brilliant, brilliant places that you can go and catch your sim racing action. And of course, to everyone who has been part of the team getting it all done here today. Of course, our broadcast director, Justin Mifsud, has been on the cameras fantastically. Your race director has been Adrian Fagayo, and your chief steward, George Muscat. I, of course, have been Jake Sperry. And smiles galore for Yerne. He often leaves it late. He is one of the best at tyre saving. He waits and waits and waits. And once more, he comes up with the reward deep into the heart of the race. But Silverstone will be a different prospect, a different challenge. Different drivers may find themselves up near the top. The only way you can see who's still got that form, whether that form book may have changed, is to come back in a week's time and see exactly what's going on. And this is going to promise to be one brilliant season of Griiip G1's 2020 Virtual Series. World Pro Racing, where sim racing becomes real.
This is bad. Wait, let's just do it ourselves.
is not fear that grips him, only restlessness, a heightened sense of things. The smell of engine and sweat, the engine rattling his blood, the crowd roaring. The race is about to start. He breathes deeply to focus. In this league, he finally found what he was looking for. A true passion.
Sono Massimo Paganini e per anni ho cercato una macchina che mi desse gioia, adrenalina nella guida e finalmente l'ho trovata nella G1 Series. Se anche tu vuoi provare una macchina che ti dia gioia e adrenalina, G1 Series 2020.
So, you think you got what it takes to race in the G1 Series? Can you keep your concentration? Even in the most stressed situations, can you keep pushing even when things go wrong? Can you master different environments? Can you adapt immediately to different conditions? Can you keep learning? Learning from your opponents, learning from your mistakes, learning from everyone, anytime, anywhere, until you reach your goal and become the best you can. Think you got what it takes to race in the 2020 G1 Series? Then fill in the form now.
Want to quit your day job? Become a pro streamer. Want to become a pro streamer? Get your panels, overlays, banners, emotes, and more at the Fiverr Twitch store.
World Pro Racing, where sim racing becomes real.